Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where it's time to call the taxidermist because that owl is about to get stuffed. It's lost to the Midcard. We are back. Once again, I was on the disabled list with some stomach issues, but I am back, healthy, ready to roll, and what a good time to be back. It's been a good week of wrestling, lots to talk about. We are going to break down the first round of the Mae Young Classic, and then we will cover the rest of the tournament next week. We've got some interesting headlines to talk about, as well as what Raw, Smackdown, and NXT, and 205 Live are doing. But first, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. All you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard, hit that subscribe button. That way you know every time a new episode comes your way, every Thursday as well as Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. You can also subscribe to us on the YouTube. Links to all that are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Head to the notes section. You can also find the links on our Twitter page at LITMC Podcast, where we also share a lot of the interesting tweets around the wrestling world, and trust me, there are a lot of interesting tweets in the wrestling world. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how's it going, man?
It's alright. It's alright. As I like to often say, I'm doing better than GFW's doing. I would certainly think today of all days, that statement cannot ring any more true than it does right now.
Not a high bar, right there. Not a high bar. What Matt's
I like to set the bar low. I like to set the bar low. You set the bar too high, you can be disappointed. You know, keeping the low bar keeps things in perspective.
So unlike Sheamus and Cesaro, we are the low bar. Back-to-back days this week alone, Monday and Tuesday, or actually, I'm sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back days of GFW news that GFW is probably not proud of. First off, the big one. This one came out today, September 6th. Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated is reporting that Anthem is hemorrhaging money, and sources close to the situation are confirming that Anthem is ready to withdraw itself out of the wrestling industry and sell Global Force Wrestling just 9 months after it was purchased. Barrasso also mentioned that it's obvious on the last set of television tapings, which taped all the way to November of 2020, there were big cutbacks. A number of talents were not brought in. Others only used for certain tapings and being flown home. Others, as opposed to remaining for the entire run of tapings. So Barrasso says they're hemorrhaging funds, quote unquote. Hemorrhaging funds, Matt. That just sounds like TNA, Impact Wrestling, Global Force Wrestling in a nutshell anyways. Are you surprised Anthem is ready to jump out this soon?
No, because they didn't know what they were getting into when they signed up in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's very clear they have very much realized at this point that they're in way too deep, and Ed dumbass Nordholm doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna take this a step further. Not only is Anthem going to eventually sell off Impact Wrestling, I refuse to call it GFW because apparently they don't own the name to that yet. Dumbasses. By the time they end up reselling Impact Wrestling off to Vince or Billy Corgan or whatever the fuck they end up doing with it, if they can find a buyer for this steaming pile of trash at this rate, Ed Ortholm's going to lose his job. Anthem's going to fire this dude, because he is the reason that this project has failed as badly as it has. He's the reason why their company is hemorrhaging money day in and day out now. And he will be the scapegoat of that company. When they get rid of Impact, they will also be getting rid of Ed Nordholm. So, Owlman, ta-ta, bye-bye, so long.
Do you agree with the fact that they're continuing to hemorrhage money because not only of Ed Nordholm's incompetence, but the fact that he was focusing on all of the wrong areas? He was more worried about the broken gimmick that they could never use again anyways. I mean, who's going to buy a broken... I don't know.
Jeff Jarrett looked pretty damn broken at Triple Mania the other week.
Oh, yeah, that's because he was wearing a beer can.
Fucking drunk ass.
So do you agree that a lot of it is that they just couldn't focus on the right things instead of running a business and trying to grow the business? Do you agree?
It's a little bit that, but it's not all that.
Yeah.
But I mean that is a shining beacon example of the type of things that they've done wrong since they've taken over.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't believe that is like the main reason that they have failed. But it certainly hasn't helped their cause.
Well, we've said this
by any mean stretch of the imagination.
Well, we've said this on the show until we're blue in the face. My God, how could someone be worse than Dixie Carter? And he really jumped over that bar, didn't he?
No, Dixie Carter looks amazing.
He set the
she tweeted something tonight or yesterday or whatever about like the Impact Wrestling's Twitter put out some bullshit press release about how they're expanding the company or whatever, and she tweeted like something along the lines of "exciting times at Impact Wrestling" or something like that. To me, it just totally read as like oozing sarcasm, and just Dixie Carter getting yet another shot in on these dumbasses that were stupid enough to buy this company from her.
Oh my God!
So
that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think Corgan probably has the funds and ability to withstand the company being in the red. Obviously, Vince McMahon can just get it out of the red with a snap of his fingers.
Well, well, here's the thing: if WWE swoops in and buys the company, it's dead.
Yeah, it's tape library.
Dead.
It's tape library.
It's all coming to WWE Network.
We're adding. We're adding to our Jeff Hardy collection. We're adding to our Kurt Angle collection. We're adding to our Sting collection. We're adding to our Samoa Joe
AJ
collection.
Styles, Samoa Joe,
Bobby Roode.
Yeah, all those guys. Yeah, Bobby Roode. And I mean, that's all he would do with it. They'd take a handful of talent from down there. They'd put him in NXT. And everyone else would be out of a job.
As long as they sign one guy from that company is all I care about.
God, I can only venture a guess as who the one guy is that JB would suggest that WWE hire from Impact Wrestling.
They need to sign one guy.
Yeah,
one guy only.
Do it and get it out of your system.
He's the Global Force Wrestling Champion, Eli Drake. Dummy, yeah.
There it is, folks.
Eli Drake, and I mean, if you look at Wikipedia, this was not spoiler. If you look at Wikipedia, Eli Drake and Johnny Impact are going to be the main event at Bound for Glory in 2 months.
And if you couldn't see that by just watching the last 2 weeks of TV, then I don't even know what the hell to tell you to begin with.
I can't really watch the last weeks of TV because I don't get popped. But I did hear.
I don't know. I've heard through a grapevine that you've been bugging the certain somebody to hook you up with some
I just
Impact viewing.
I haven't had the time to watch yet, but I will enjoy the.
I will pull you out on the carpet, sir.
I will enjoy the Eli Drake Championship celebration here shortly. But I hear they're on the app Pluto.
Apparently that was in like the press release, like it's coming to Pluto.
Apparently they've been on Pluto for a while. I mean, that was, that's funny. That's funny. That was almost a joke, but I mean, they've actually been on the app for a while. They're just now announcing it. That's the funny thing about it. But yeah, literally and figuratively, they've been on Pluto. Ed Normholm and his owl fucking people have been on Pluto for a long time coming. But yeah, so maybe I'll get to watch it. Pluto, I don't know if you guys aren't familiar with Pluto, it's like a streaming channel service.
I'll be perfectly honest, dude. I've never fucking heard of it until I saw it in their press release today.
Yeah, I've got the app.
I was like, what the fuck's this shit?
I've got the app on my PlayStation 4. It's weird. It's like an entire cable network kind of thing. It's got like a guide with a bunch of channels, and you can watch all sorts of shit. And there's a wrestling channel. I mean, there's nothing really to note on those channels. I mean, it's just stuff to watch for free, and
yeah,
like, so it's nothing earth shattering, but I might check it out to see if I can somehow find the impact on Pluto. But I mean, I don't think you can watch anything on demand. I think it's all just whatever is on. I mean, there's like a bunch of different channels. It's just, and maybe they may just, I mean, this is a free app. You can get it on your phone, PS4, Xbox One. So, maybe they just replay an entire day of Impact back to back. It's hard telling with that. But,
who fucking knows?
And that was not the only story from Global Force Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett is taking an indefinite leave of absence from his position as Chief Creative Officer to focus on personal matters. Jeff will be available on a consultative, that's an interesting word, basis as needed. What are your thoughts on this, Matt?
Also known as stop showing up to work drunk, you fucking moron.
Yes, Triple Mania video all over of Jeff throwing beer into the crowd, and then somebody with a nice shot tossed a beer can right at his mug after he dumped beer on the crowd.
I heard he was like throwing tortillas and shit at them.
Really?
Like burritos and shit. Like, how fucking racist is that?
Yeah.
Going down to Mexico, throwing Mexican food at the people in the crowd. Well, apparently it was a gigantic beer belly, to go along with it.
Yeah.
Like, fucking A, dude. Like, you never cease to amaze me how absolutely stupid this man is to throw away chance after chance after chance, and he just got his last big chance with Dum Dum Ed Nordholm that pretty much would have given this guy anything he wanted, and he actually got to the point where Nordholm told him to go home. Mm-hmm. And when Nordholm is telling you to go home, you done fucked up, Jeff. You're done. You're done. Every bridge is burned. Nobody cares. He couldn't be a bigger failure at this point in his career. It's blatantly sad at this point.
Mike Johnson, PW Insider, said there were creative plans for Jeff Jarrett to face Alberto El Patron at Bound for Glory. My money is on neither one's going to be at Bound for Glory.
Oh my god.
What a cluster fuck of a company.
That's being nice about it.
Interesting Triple Mania segue. This happened while we were gone a couple weeks ago. Crazy situation where Sexy Star of Lucha Underground fame was taking on Rosemary at Triple Mania, put her in a legit cross arm breaker and injured her, and the wrestling world gave it to her, justifiably so, on social media and the such. Turns out Rosemary has been diagnosed with a strained bicep and strained tricep, so it's maybe not as severe as once thought, but still, Matt,
we still don't know a final word on how bad it is, but at the end of the day, I think this is one of the few times where the entire wrestling industry, along with the fan base, was in unison agreement over something.
Yeah.
And that is, nobody wants to see this woman in a wrestling ring ever again.
No.
And it got to the point where AAA just 24 hours ago
stripped her.
Finally succumbed to the pressure of the world and freaking stripped her of the championship, which should have happened. Honestly, it should have happened weeks ago. But I guess the old tagline, better late than never, has to come into play there.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most beloved women in Lucha Underground. The only woman to ever hold the title. A hell of a great story that has been told over 3 seasons on Lucha Underground.
And it's ruined. And
now it's fucked. Career suicide. You haven't even started taping season 4 yet, and you probably won't be there now because of this incident. Rumor is season 4 is greenlit and set to tape sometime in the fall. So you really...
Here's the great question. Who's going to be left?
Yeah, that too.
The sexy star's gone. John's gone.
Taya's
gone.
Ray.
I don't know about Ray.
Pentagon and Phoenix.
They're gone. Ricochet is going to be gone.
Yeah.
Prince Puma or whatever they're calling him over there. Like, they ain't going to have anybody left. Why even bother doing a season 4? Just end it.
Nah, hit the reset button. I mean, we didn't know who half these people were when season 1 debuted, and it turned out to be a great success. So I think they can hit the reset.
I think your definition of success is about as low bar as me saying I'm doing better than Global Force Wrestling.
No, I'm saying success as in a good product. I'm not talking about viewers or whatever.
Okay, fair enough.
It's on the All Right Network, but any wrestling fan that watched it's going to tell you this was great wrestling. And
if you like the Lucha Libre style.
Well, I'm not. I wasn't really.
I know there's a lot of people that absolutely hate this show because they don't like the style of wrestling that it presents.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm not saying I was a big fan of the style going in, but I love what they've done with Lucha Underground. So. Guess what? They will probably be without a ring announcer in the fall as well. Well, maybe. I don't know. I would assume so because Melissa Santos just announced on Instagram that her and Brian Cage are expecting a baby. So she just announced that today, actually, on Instagram. So, yeah.
It's time. It's time. It's baby time.
I never thought a Vader promo with someone being pregnant would ever be put together, but
I'm feeling random tonight, sir, so you're just gonna have to deal with it.
And have you heard this? This came out a few days ago that Global Force might be turning that thing into a storyline. The Rosemary sexy star.
They damn well better not be.
Mike Johnson said, if this is, unless they're going to admit it was a work on their own television, Mike Johnson said this would be madness. But apparently the company's going to turn the situation into a work.
See, I find that, even for GFW, Impact, TNA, whatever the fuck you want to call them, I find that very hard to believe. Like, not even they can be that stupid.
Mike Johnson said this.
As far as I'm concerned, Sexy Star will never wrestle another match in the United States again. Like, she is officially blackballed by every North American promotion of professional wrestling. If you ever see her in the ring again, it will be in Mexico and Mexico only.
Yeah.
I don't think any promoters would be dumb enough to bring her in to a locker room in the United States after what she pulled.
Yeah, and Mike Johnson actually did an update. 2 sources from Global Force Wrestling said the company is not doing an angle with Sexy Star and not planning to bring her in. So
I was gonna say, dude, that's fucking insanity.
And then it gets even crazier. Then it gets even crazier on Monday, and Sexy Star is insinuating.
Oh my God!
Insinuating that Rosemary's lying about her injury. And saying she's been cyberbullied by American fans, media, and wrestlers. Yeah. Well, first off, it didn't help when you put out your first statement and it made absolutely no sense. Now you're accusing her of making it up. So that's
it's the same fucking woman that had the nerve to act like she did nothing wrong. Like if you listen to her statement, she acts like she didn't do anything wrong. Like she hasn't even fucking learned her lesson yet. Like it's unbelievable how absolutely delusional this woman is. And she's not even that good in the ring. She's really not that good. There are women in the WWE right now that could wrestle circles around Sexy Star. That's a fucking shoot.
There's a good portion of the 32 in the Mae Young Classic that could too.
Yeah, well, I didn't even want to branch out any further than just WWE because let's not even talk about what Shimmer and Shine and and all those companies have compared to Sexy Star. She's a novelty act. She's not that good. She is the personification of the term diva. She is the ultimate diva. And in honest to God, I really, like I said, I don't ever expect her to step foot in a North American professional wrestling ring ever again.
Nope. She fucked that up.
I really don't.
She fucked that up big time. Let's get an update on the Nate. First off, WWE pulled the table for three featuring Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, and Sting due to Rick's health issues, but it is now going to reappear mid-September, so that could be potentially this Monday or a week from Monday.
Did you hear the situation of how scary this was?
Doctors gave him a 20% chance to live, I heard.
WWE, like I've heard this from 2 or 3 different people.
Yeah.
WWE actually had tribute packages ready to roll in case he died during Raw or SmackDown that week.
Oh boy.
Like legitimately they had the video packages done and ready to roll because they didn't think he was going to make it. Like that's how dead serious this was.
Yep.
So the fact that he was able to, let's use the wrestling terminology, the mofo kicked out at 2.
He did. And
I'm so happy that he did.
Or as JR would say, 2 7/8.
2 9/10. I loved his promo with the T-shirt that said "I'm not dead yet, motherfucker."
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was great. It's good to see him up and around. On the mend. Nothing but the best for the Nate. I really hope he continues to get better and improve, and hopefully, can help, improve his health and his lifestyle going forward. So a scary situation like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, Rick's first message since the surgeries and everything, sometimes you have to get knocked down lower than you've ever been to stand up taller than you'll ever be. Nate will be back. That was on August 29th. And then on September 2nd, wearing that I Ain't Dead Yet Motherfucker shirt. I'm back.
I'd buy that shirt if he sold it.
On his tweet with the shirt on, it says RickFlairShop.com, so I think you can buy it.
Oh, I might have to go look that up right now.
I'm going right now. Yeah, RickFlairShop.com. I Ain't Dead Yet Motherfuckers is available for sale.
Oh my God. Where is it? I'm scrolling. Fucking Flair. Oh yeah, there it is. I Ain't Dead Yet Motherfuckers. Man, that's a really highly priced shirt for just that.
Yeah.
I love you, Nate, but I don't know if I'm spending $28 on a shirt that just has a quote on it.
Yeah, I'd rather spend $28 on the Space Mountain shirt.
Yeah. I like the goat shirt. With flares the O.
Yeah.
I mean, in the shirt says heel with a picture of them.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
There's some good shirts on here.
I like the Woo pin too.
I think for $27.99, you're pricing yourself higher than WWE Shop. You got to be a little careful with that. But in all seriousness, absolute best to the Nature Boy. I'm so glad to hear that he's on the mend, and I hope he just continues to get better and better as the days go on.
Yeah, exactly. So we're lucky to still have Nate in our. I was not prepared to speak if Nate had passed. That would have been rougher on me than Dusty by far. So. Let's go to some good news, Matt. JBL is no longer on Smackdown Live.
Yes! Yes! Did you hear how better Smackdown sounded Tuesday night without that dumbass calling the show?
The reuniting of Tom Phillips and Corey Graves, and the reuniting of Byron Saxton and Corey Graves.
Yeah, they worked really, really well together.
They did. I mean, Jesus,
very
Corey...
much enjoyed together.
Corey just added some zeros on his paycheck with the work he's doing. They say that JBL is leaving to work on his charity, but
I don't believe you.
Others think otherwise.
What have you heard, JB? I have not even dug into this yet. What have you heard?
Well, first, I'm seeing if he still blocks me on Twitter. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he did. He ain't ever unblocking anybody.
I know.
So.
I know. Our buddy we just talked about earlier, Justin Barrasso from Sports Illustrated, said JBL gave his notice 11 months ago, which was well before the Mauro Ranallo situation. But some are saying that JBL, at the height of the Mauro Ranallo situation at WrestleMania, when the cheers could be audibly heard at Raw to fire Bradshaw, JBL wanted to step down, but Vince said that would just be admitting to being to the bullying scandal. Said he told JBL to wait for 6 months, let it cool down, and we'll quietly have you exit.
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that, because JBL is a sensitive little pussy.
Yep.
It's very clear as he vanity searches his name and blocks anybody who says an unkind word about him on Twitter, whether they're following him or not. That would not surprise me at all if that's what happened. He got butthurt over the chance, and he wanted to quit, and Vince got him to tag around a couple months longer before they let him go.
Yeah, I never said a bad thing to him directly or indirectly on Twitter. I got blocked for Mauro Ranallo retweeting me. So.
Yeah, well, I knocked his commentary in 2K17 last year, and he blocked me.
Yeah.
And that I was not in any way. It was not directed at him. I did not tweet at him. I only mentioned that JBL's commentary in 2K17 is god awful, and the next thing I knew, I was blocked. So, so that to me, it's a brutal fact that dude just vanity searches his name and blocks anybody who's saying anything mean about him because he's a big baby.
So yeah, I don't know what story is correct here, but I could definitely see, Vince said, hey, pal, just stick it out for a little longer, and we'll, everybody will forget about it. Mauro will be back. Mauro will be on NXT, so the internet.
Well, I highly doubt that was ever said.
The internet marks will be happy he's back, and they'll all forget about you, pal, and.
Oh my!
As you can see from Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown, September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month.
Really? I couldn't tell.
And some cool shirts for Connor's Cure were displayed by the wrestlers and superstars and everybody. WWEshop.com/Connor's Cure has got those shirts. I think they're pretty cool shirts. I love the black one with the Always Keep Crushing, and it's got the little silhouette of Connor. I like that one the best. I think that one's pretty cool.
I like the idea behind it. I like the fact that all the money, from my understanding, is going to Connor's Cure, and I think that stuff's cool. But I just when I see this stuff, I can't get out of my mind the Justin Roberts autobiography
Oh yeah,
where he goes in depth about the Connor the Crusher stuff and the way that the company pretty much, manipulated his situation for their own corporate, to look good from a corporate standpoint. And honestly, it just sickened to turn to my stomach. To use like a little kid like that, I hated it. So I mean, it's still like I want to believe that they're doing it because they want to be good people, and I know at the end of the day, it's making good things for these kids who need it so bad. But if you haven't read the Justin Roberts autobiography and you don't know what I'm talking about, go pick it up. Best seat in the house. He goes in depth about the Connor the Crusher situation very late in the book, and it's a sad, eye-opening situation that, to me, Justin Roberts has no reason to lie.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that at all. Yeah, I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah, dude. It's something I didn't even really like after I read the book. Like, I didn't even want to talk about it. Like that part of the book, like, because it bothered me so bad to read it. Yeah. So like to see the Connor the Crusher stuff on the TV again just kind of reopens the old wound of reading that stuff in the book. And yeah, I like what it's doing for the kids, but at the same token, I don't like the stance WWE is using it for their own personal gain, and it sucks. It really does.
Mike Johnson, PW Insider, had a little chat with AJ Styles recently, and was asked about his prediction of when the Bucks might be ending up in the WWE. Styles said, "That's a tough question. Obviously, knowing the Bucks very well from his time in the Bullet Club," and says, "For guys who know to do what they do, and they've got it done before they even get here." So I would say, that's a tough question. I would give them 5 years at the most. Within 5 years, yeah, that's my timeline. What are your thoughts on AJ Styles' prediction for the Bucks coming to the WWE?
Eventually, I think eventually they'll go. 5 years. That's a generous statement on Styles' part. Gives a very wide open window. I think the Bucks have another year and a couple months on their Ring of Honor deals. So I would say, honest to God, to me, like the best chance we have of seeing them show up will be after their next Ring of Honor contracts expire. If they resign after that, it could be a really long time, if ever, if we ever see them. Because I mean, look, let's face it. Who has been? Can you even name a more successful act in the last decade that has done more without the WWE powers behind them than the Young Bucks?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of one single person or entity that has done more for themselves without a company backing them than the Young Bucks have done for themselves.
They were even able to separate themselves with Kenny Omega from the Bullet Club, to create their own thing within the Bullet Club. I mean, they took it to their own level even without the Bullet Club. They took it to their own level with themselves and Omega.
Yeah, the Elite.
Yep.
It's like the. Some people want to refer to it as like the Wolf Pack of the NWO, but I mean it's still a part of the Bullet Club. It's just like I guess you could call it a division that like of the Bullet Club, because I mean it's all still the Bullet Club. It's not like two separate factions.
No.
But it's the Bullet Club, and then there's the Elite in the Bullet Club. It's hard to explain. It's not like the people that like just dismiss it as like a wolf pack type deal. It's not really that situation. It's hard to explain, but it works and it makes sense, and just like it's unbelievable what those guys have done on their own. To be able to get their shirts in Hot Topic and open up the door for New Japan to start getting their merchandise in there too. It's fucking awesome. I can't say enough good things about the Bucks. Their work ethic, their entertainment value, their business savviness. Those guys are just head and shoulders above anything else on the independents right now in terms of a money-making machine. And honest to God, I don't think they'd ever, if they don't want to, these guys never have to go to WWE.
No.
They legitimately could run their careers out and never step foot in the WWE ring and still be hugely, insanely successful. But I feel like they're going to want it for their legacy. To eventually go there and have a run. It might not be a lone run. You know, they might do it. They might go in there. They might sign like a 1-year deal, run shit and leave. But at least they can say they were there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting.
Is it a work or a shoot that WWE gave him a cease and desist on the Suck It? They've been doing that for an awfully long time.
Oh, they'll if you've been watching Being the Elite, the first cease and desist came with "fuck the revival."
Yep.
Apparently they're not allowed to say that, so they beep it on Being the Elite now. And now when they say "suck it," it gets beeped too, and they're making a big gimmick out of it. I don't know if it's true. If I had to put a gun to my head and I had to be right, I'd say they didn't get a cease and desist order on "suck it." But I don't know that for 100% fact either way. But I will tell you this: if WWE keeps fucking with their ability to make money, that might be enough for the Young Bucks to choose to never to go to the company.
Yeah.
Because when you fuck with it, when you fuck with the talent's ability to make money, when they've never been in your company to begin with, and you're out there fucking with them, that might be enough for them to say, you know what, maybe we don't ever really want to go work for that company. So WWE needs to tread a little lightly there, and not shoot themselves in the foot to the point where they never get the Young Bucks. Period. So it'll be interesting.
Would Cole call it a Meltzer driver?
I'm pretty sure they'd have a new name.
Oh, brother,
dude, Jack.
Enzo Amore apparently spent 10 grand.
Oh, Enzo Amore. Oh, Enzo Amore.
He's apparently got cash as he spent 10 grand to see McGregor Mayweather in the front row.
Couple haters.
What we got here? And of course, if you're in the front row of that fight, you get to meet some celebs. So he posted a bunch of pictures of himself with Steve Harvey, Jamie Foxx, Chance the Rapper, Jeremy.
See, I didn't hear he bought front row. I heard he had a floor seat.
Oh.
So, but I mean, still, 10 grand is pretty damn pricey for, to see something you could have seen for a pay-per-view for $100 or gone to a Buffalo Wild Wings or a Hooters or a Dave & Buster's and saw it for, next to nothing other than the price of your food. So.
Enzo doing his little dance when the wings come at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh my God. I don't even want to imagine that.
Last week for Destiny Wrestling in Toronto, Santino Marella wrestled his final match against Chavo Guerrero over the weekend. He also posted or had a goodbye speech. And if you want to check that out, check out Destiny Wrestling on Facebook. And you'll see Morella's speech post-match there on their page.
Did he call anybody a son of a gun?
Yes, son of a gun.
Because if he didn't, I'm not interested.
Bad news for New Day's Xavier Woods. He has suffered an MCL tear at a live event in Texarkana, Arkansas on August 29th.
You sure it was a tear?
They say, Mike Johnson, PW Insider, says MCL tear.
I didn't hear it was a tear, but okay.
Mike Johnson says it was a tear, and on the Up, Up, Down, Down episode of Windjammers with Becky Lynch, Becky Lynch said she had the same injury and was able to work through it. Took about a month to heal, so maybe we'll see Xavier back.
I don't see how a tear fixes itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, MCL is obviously not as big as an ACL, so.
Yeah, well, I also know like Victoria worked through a bunch of MCL injuries as well in her career. Mm-hmm. That working with that knee brace, like I guess my definition of tear and maybe what their definition of terror might be different. Because I don't see how a tear heals itself without surgery. Because to me, a tear is like you're ripping the damn thing from the bone.
Yeah.
So, that's very interesting.
Good news for Sami Zayn. August 31st, he posted on Twitter, "Tears of joy on the proudest day of my life. Our mobile clinic in Syria is up and running. We can make a difference. SamiForSyria.com." So great stuff there that Sami led a crowdfunding expedition to get a mobile clinic in Syria over the past month, and it officially opened at the end of August. So great stuff there from Sami Zayn. Interesting tag team is reuniting for All Pro Wrestling on September 22nd. Joey Mercury and John Morrison are going to be reuniting as a team for the first time in several years as they take on Reno Scum, and so Eminem back together.
Just MN.
Yeah, no M.
Because as far as I know, Melina's not in there, so I guess it's just going to be MN.
Yeah, that was the name of the tag team. So maybe it's MTN now. Taya might accompany him to the ring.
Oh my. Mountain.
Pretty cool stuff.
MTN Mountain.
I didn't realize Joey still would wrestle from time to time, but
yeah, I didn't know either.
But obviously, we all remember Joey Mercury eating a ladder.
Dude, that was rough to watch, man.
That was blood just pouring out.
Oh, it was, dude. It was everywhere.
It was a
like if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it was like TLC.
WrestleMania match, though, right?
No, dude, it was like no, it was like no, it was like a TLC pay-per-view.
I know ladders are involved
because TLC 2007 or 2008 or whatever. It was the same pay-per-view that I think it was MVP and Kane in an Inferno match. Kane Inferno. Can somebody tell me when the damn pay-per-view was? Oh, it was Armageddon 2006.
Okay.
So I'm almost positive that was the same pay-per-view. I'm going to click on the Wikipedia here and look at the card. But really feel like I'm not crazy. Yep, ladder match. Paul London and Brian Kendrick defeated William Regal and Dave Taylor, Eminem, and the Hardy Boys. And that is definitely when it occurred. So yeah, Armageddon 2006. If you have not seen it, I'm sure it wasn't edited off the network. It's fucking brutal, dude. Like, Mercury gets his face smashed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. Warning you ahead of time. If you want to see it, it ain't pretty.
Yeah, it was brutal. More injury news, unfortunately. Samoa Joe is injured. He had a little problem with his knee, but after a trip to Birmingham, Alabama, some decent news. It sounds like he'll be out of the ring for only 4 to 6 weeks. So
could not have happened at a better time.
Yeah. So
Cena on Raw right now. Obviously, the title picture is already occupied with Braun and Lesnar. Honestly, this injury could not have come at a better time.
Yep.
Because he's not on TV to be hurt right now.
He was going to be fed to Cena at No Mercy instead.
That's what I would have guessed would have happened.
Yep. They were going to play off some of the history of them being in. Was it UPW that's in California?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah, they were in UPW together back in the early days of their career.
Yeah, I think Cena had like one of his first matches of his career against him.
Battle of Los Angeles is underway. September 2nd was night 1, where Desmond Xavier pinned soon-to-be new daddy Brian Cage. Marty Scurll beat Flash Morgan Webster with his chicken wing. Ray Phoenix defeated Ray Horace. Cobb and Riddle defeated Dijak and Lee. Oh, I'll talk about Dijak in a little bit. Word was the Dijak Lee Cobb and Riddle match was completely awesome.
No shock.
Penta 0M pinned Matt Sydal. That is, of course, Pentagon Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Jonah Rock. Jonah Rock making his debut. Ricochet defeated Flamita. And Sean Waltman also in attendance. Day 2 of the Battle of Los Angeles occurred on September 3rd. Donovan Dijak defeated Trevor Lee. Sammy Guevara defeated Jerry Janela in what was called one of the best matches you could ever hope to see. Sabre Jr. and Skrull teamed up to defeat Ricochet and Matt Sydal. And Jeff Cobb defeated Sami Callihan. Matt Riddle defeated Michael Elgin. Keith Lee pinned Walter. The Bucks and Omega took on Phoenix, Penta, and Flamita. And the bout was hampered by the ring breaking. But overall, the match was great, was the report. That would have been a fun 6-man tag to watch as well. Well, what led to Baron Corbin getting the biggest gigantic D push
in recent memory?
In a since Jack Swagger, probably, after he lost the world title. CTE Dr. Joseph Maroon, who heads up the company.
Maroon, all right.
Ew, what a maroon, hey. What a maroon, hey. How you doing? Brought to the company to discuss the importance of concussion-related injuries to the talents and why they should report them to management as soon as possible. During that meeting, Mike Johnson from PW Insider was told that Maroon was brought up a recent study of deceased NFL players who had been diagnosed post-mortem with CTE in a way that Mike Johnson was told downplayed the study as being concrete proof to anyone that played football would then develop CTE. Multiple sources told BW Insider that Corbin, a former NFL player, cut off Maroon in the middle of his presentation to express an opinion and challenged Maroon. Told that Corbin argued that there would be some form of head trauma with every play, as football helmets are always cracking against each other. During the exchange, Corbin noted he is part of a concussion-related lawsuit against the NFL and said that he knew Maroon was against CTE, leading to Maroon to state that his depiction in the film Concussion, starring Will Smith, was incorrect.
I doubt it.
We are told that Maroon did agree with Corbin that CTE is a problem, but was trying to make a point that the study did not mean 99% of NFL players actually had CTE, and that everyone has to put things in proper perspective. Corbin disagreed with the stance, and they went back and forth for several minutes in a scene that was described as awkward, time standing still, an awkward moment that led to awkward laughter. According to 3 different sources, a 4th source pointed out that it wasn't the case of Corbin being yelling or being belligerent, but perhaps expressing his opinions in the wrong time and the wrong place. And it would have been better served that he would pull Maroon privately to talk after the meeting. Feeling is that voicing himself in front of the assembled locker room, as opposed to privately speaking to Maroon, hurt the flow of the meeting, took the attention away from what was important for the meeting, put Maroon in a position of defending instead of educating, and that is the belief why Corbin's push took a gigantic tumble, Matt. What do you think about that?
I think I stand with Corbin.
Yeah,
I do, and I'm proud of him for standing up for what he believed in. Absolutely, I absolutely 110% side with Corbin on this.
So you would agree that he shouldn't have been pushed so heavily?
No, not for this. Like, absolutely not. The only good thing that he can say that he gets out of this is he didn't get on the wrong side of John Cena.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a lot better to do something like this as something that will eventually blow over than getting on the wrong side of John Jack.
And I mean, the reports are saying he was professional. Just, it was like a constructive discussion, it almost seemed like, but obviously...
Yeah, I am totally on Corbin's side here. Like, absolutely positively on his side. I feel he did... He spoke up and defended himself as a former NFL player. Mm-hmm. As part of the lawsuit, he deserved to not sit there in silence and get told bullshit that he believes to be false, and I believe it to be false as well. And no, I applaud Corbin for what he did. It sucks that he got depushed because of it. But it won't last forever.
No.
It's a hell of a lot better than getting heat with John Jack.
What part
I'm sure he'll survive.
What part of the statements about the concussions do you think are false?
I think Corbin's right. I think pretty much anybody that has played an NFL game has the chance to have or develop CTE.
Yeah, especially.
I really and truly believe that. Look, as much as I love football and you love football, and we look forward to the season when it rolls around, and as well as millions of other people on the planet, like the stress and the toll and the damage that these guys put on their bodies on a weekly, basis to entertain us is harmful to them in the future of their life. And I think people like Maroon downplay that shit. Mm. And I truly believe that the players, that the study that's out that Maroon's trying to downplay, I think the study's dead on. And I think Maroon's full of shit.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at football in the 80s. Obviously, the helmets were not as safe. And you're playing on thin layers of AstroTurf. And what's below that AstroTurf? Concrete.
Yeah.
It was a brutal situation back in the day before things got safer. A signing we all knew was coming. Donovan Dijak is officially announced by the WWE as showing up at the Performance Center. Actually, he was in Orlando several weeks back, but made the official announcement by the WWE just yesterday, September 5th, that Dijak has been added to the company. The man won the 2015 Top Prospect Tournament, and then, of course, joined Truth Martini's House of Truth. From there, teaming with Jay Diesel, Baby Tista, is that right?
Baby Tista, baby. Donovan Dijak needs to get to the main roster and team with Zack Ryder. And it's Zack's long lost brother, Giant Zack Ryder, ladies and gentlemen. Be great. They come in, they turn on Mojo.
They beat
Mojo down. Be great.
I gave you this heads up earlier on Twitter. What is your % chance that Dijak is at the NXT tapings next week?
I don't know, dude. They haven't even debuted Rush yet. I'll go. He's signed. I'll give it a 50. I'll give it a 50% chance. It's not like the dude hasn't signed with the company. So I mean, will he be there? I will say 100%. He will be there. Will he be used on the tapings? I'll give it a 50% chance. It's legitimately it's a 50-50 shot on if they choose to use him this early or not. I mean,
now,
only time will tell.
Do you put him in as the muscle with Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish?
The only reason I'm going to say no is because Adam Cole is not the tallest person in the world.
I'm taller than Adam Cole. If you look at the picture of me and Adam Cole in Dallas.
That's what I'm saying. And
I'm short.
Dijak will tower above Adam Cole. And if they want to get Cole over as, the big bad heel in NXT right now, he can't be seconded by a guy that dwarfs him by over a foot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say they'd be better off putting Leo Rush with them before they put Donovan Dijak with them.
I just don't think Rush fits in that like Dijak would. Well, but I get your point though. I get your point on that where he would dwarf Adam Cole. But
I don't think that would be a good thing for. I don't think that'd be a good thing for Cole. I really don't.
It didn't hurt Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor.
That was a completely different story, and I think Lethal's taller than Cole.
I don't know how tall Lethal is. I want one more Jay Lethal, Ric Flair promo before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible, buddy.
What are your thoughts on the announcements that Raw and What are your thoughts on the announcements that Raw on Christmas and New Year's are going to be live instead of taped?
New Year's, I don't have a problem with at all.
Mike Johnson went off on this.
New Year's is whatever. New Year's is whatever. Like, nobody cares about New Year's. People care about New Year's Eve. Like, by the time New Year's Day rolls around, like the evening of New Year's Day, it means nothing. I don't blame. Christmas is a completely different situation, and I absolutely hate with a capital HATE that Vince is going to bring his talent in to work a live Monday Night Raw on Christmas night. Beth Hardy, Jeff Hardy's wife, mentioned on Twitter that this was a USA Network decision and not a WWE decision. I don't know if I believe that. But, I see no reason why this could not have been a taped edition of Raw.
Mike Johnson.
I don't see why they couldn't have done a Raw and SmackDown Super Show on the Friday before Christmas. They tape both shows on the same night, and you bring all the talent in together, and you let them all fly home for the weekend for Christmas, and they're off until, after the holidays.
Mike Johnson posted a lengthy post on his Facebook personal page on Monday saying there's absolutely no reason that the WWE cannot tape Raw and SmackDown on the Friday and Saturday prior to Christmas.
He's right, but I would even go a step further. There's no reason. Yeah, there's no reason to tape it on separate nights. Do the Super Show on a Friday night, record both shows, and let the talent go home.
To have talents on the road for Christmas, traveling Christmas weekend, and having them away on both Christmas Day and presumably Christmas Eve as well comes off as completely unfair. I get the work ethic of Vince McMahon. I respect it. I get that the WWE talents have to make sacrifices for their family in order to compete and perform at the level that they do globally. I get it. It's the WWE. It's big boy time. You have to buck up and do what's asked of you. But seriously, come on. It's Christmas. There's no one on planet Earth, not even Vince himself, who can successfully argue to me that requiring WWE talents to take bumps on a day when 95% of the audience will be caring about anything but the WWE is so important to the show that the show has to be broadcasted live. Being live won't help ratings that week. There's not one thing the company can do to drive an audience that week. Not on Christmas night. It's not going to be nice. To be nice. It's going to be a throwaway show because you don't run big angles, hold big matches on a week when the audience isn't going to be watching. It's going to be a show that features a Santa cameo. Hey Mick, welcome back. Some snow coming down and some matches. That's fine, but it shouldn't require the talents who work their ass off all year now to miss the biggest holiday of the year, and it shouldn't require their families to miss them. Beyond that, WWE can't afford to work around the fact that Christmas falls on a Monday. This is a company that can work out police escorts that move talents across town, shut down highways in WrestleMania cities so they can bus everyone to the Hall of Fame without incident. And they can't move a few tapings. WWE wants to have live Raw on the 1st of January. Fine. I honestly don't have an issue with it. I think it's a bad idea, but whatever. Have January 1st. But Christmas week, inexcusable in my opinion. Tape Raw and SmackDown on the 22nd and 23rd. Let the talents have the 24th and 25th off. To put the talents on the road for a tour and prevent them from seeing their families on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the entire week after just comes off as callous and cruel, even if the WWE doesn't mean it to come off as such. It's cruel not just to the talents, but all the employees that have to do all the grunt work around those dates, all the production people who have to be on the road. I hope the WWE changes the strategy ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, me and Mike are pretty much on the same page. But yeah, honestly, I would like to believe that WWE and USA, for that matter, have seen the backlash that this has caused already, and I would like to think that they're gonna back down on at least the Christmas Raw. Honest to God, I do not have an issue with the New Year's Day Raw. I really don't.
No,
but the Christmas Raw, I have a major problem with that. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, JB. If we do a show on the 27th this year, I can't even be perfectly honest with you if I will have seen Raw.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. By the time
we sit down to record,
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I doubt we'll do a show on December 27th.
See? then at that point, if the biggest wrestling fans aren't gonna break off from their holidays to sit down and watch a 3-hour version of Raw on Christmas night, like what the fuck you think you're accomplishing?
And I honestly have no reason. I mean, I'm gonna be around. I'm working the 27th. I'm working the 26th. I'm gonna be around. So maybe we'll do a show. Maybe we'll just do a year in recap or something. Go down memory lane for the pay-per-views of this year or something. That's probably what we would do if we do something. We might just do an hour show of recap.
Maybe that's our Marquee Awards episode.
I like to save that after the holidays just to.
I'm just throwing it out there, buddy.
It could be our nomination episode, though. I don't know.
Late to be nominating that late in the year. Damn.
That's true. Well, I'm not saying we would have already nominated by then. It's us announcing it by then.
Ah, got it.
Yeah. Which we got to start putting together here eventually. I mean, I've been piecing it together, but yeah, we'll have to. Apparently, Raw and SmackDown will be at the Allstate Arena outside of Chicago and Rosemont on Christmas Day and the day after Christmas. This is the first live WWE event on Christmas Day since 1986.
That's not a good thing, Vince. It's not a good precedence to set. It really isn't.
More bad injury news, but not so bad injury news. It could have been worse injury news, I guess we could say. Kenny Omega has suffered a knee injury. It was announced today. New Japan Pro Wrestling announced he has a meniscus injury and will miss a portion of the Destruction Tour. Kenny Omega took to Twitter early this morning at 1:44 a.m. and said, "Unfortunately, I'll have to take a short break. Hold the fort, Leo Tonga. See you in Kobe." So it looks like just a.
I've heard the injury isn't super serious.
Yeah, but better to rest than make it worse.
Oh no doubt. Better safe than sorry.
I just saw a tweet. The next story is talking about the performers that were not included on disc for WWE 2K18, and I just saw Tony Nese's tweet. This is great.
All about not being in 2K18.
Sorry, folks, they haven't created a game engine powerful enough to render a body like mine yet. I love it.
I think he'll be DLC.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna get a 205 Live DLC pack, and I think it's going to include like a couple of the guys that
the five names
didn't make the cut.
Yeah, the 5 names that didn't make the cut are Arya Daivari, Drew Gulak, Lindsay Dorado, Mustafa Ali, and Tony Nese. 4 of those 5 guys are prominently on 205 Live right now. So yeah, that makes total sense to have a DLC pack with.
Yeah, I think everybody but Dorado will get in. I think it'll be a 4-pack, and I think everybody but Dorado will get in.
Everybody else, I'm not really surprised at. On Raw, Elias and the Hardy Boys.
Dude, if they ain't DLC, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Like just as much Elias as the Hardys. Like I feel they're both gonna be in.
They both the Hardys came back and Elias debuted both in April. So video game development, these things get locked down a lot sooner than April. So on SmackDown Live, James Ellsworth, Lana, Micah Maria Kanellis, Shelton Benjamin, and the Sings.
The only one on that list that I think will be playable will be Ellsworth. And I would go as far as to say I would not be shocked if James Ellsworth is the Season Pass exclusive for WWE 2K18.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think Lana's in the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I think she's a manager, but I don't think she's playable.
With the case of Ellsworth and the Singh brothers, they're basically managers. Lana,
I think Ellsworth will be playable.
Yeah.
Like the main time when they were developing this game and making plans and whatnot, he was wrestling. Yeah. So I think he's gonna be playable. I think he's gonna be DLC. I would go as far as to speculate that Ellsworth will be a Season Pass exclusive for 2K18.
Lana just got started with her in-ring career,
which is why I think she'll be a manager again.
Yeah,
the reason why Maurice is playable is because she wrestled at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Mike and Maria Kanellis and Shelton Benjamin, they're just new to the company ish,
Yeah, they're too new.
NXT, I think my thoughts on NXT, it's a combination of too new, And for some of these guys, it's just NXT is not a major part of the game. It's more SmackDown and Raw.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you who's in from the NXT list. And I'm looking at the same list you're looking at right now. It's Aleister Black. It's Andrade Cien Almas. It's Drew McIntyre. And it's Ruby Riott. Nobody else on that list is getting in. It's those four.
Those DLC.
Yeah, if you can make an argument for anybody else on that list, I would be shocked. I can't. Yeah. I can't make an argument for anybody else on that list.
No. Adam Cole, 2 new. Street Profits, 2 new. Bobby Fish, 2 new. Kyle O'Reilly, 2 new. Lars Sullivan, just getting started. Liv Morgan has not been prominently featured in the women's division. Heavy Machinery,
2 new.
They're kind of new, not very new. Sonya Deville still is getting introduced. Velveteen Dream still getting introduced. Zelina Vega, brand new. So yeah.
Yeah, I just can't see any of those other ones being in. But I do think those 4 I named, Black, Almas, Drew, and Ruby Riott, I think all 4 of those will be the DLC pack for NXT in 2K18.
Yeah, Tony Nese's tweet just cracked me the fuck up.
It was funny. It's entertaining. Ellsworth definitely had a tweet out today kind of hinting at wondering why he wasn't in the game this year. So, I just, something tells me he's in. You know, I could be absolutely, I could be 100% wrong, but, I feel like he's going to be in the game. I feel like he's going to be DLC. And he's gonna be a playable character.
Earlier this morning, Bully Ray posted a message to the talent in TNA on Twitter. To all the great talent in TNA, the problem is not and never has been you. Keep working hard, hold your heads up high, respectfully, Bully. And Bully can't be any more right.
No, he's absolutely right.
73-year-old Terry Funk is returning to the ring later this month. He is being advertised by Big Time Wrestling in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, September 23rd and 24th. Funk will team with the Rock and Roll Express for the first time ever to take on the Memphis-themed team of Jerry Lawler, Doug Gilbert, and Brian Christopher. You egg-sucking dog.
He better not be in that ring for any extensive period of time.
Yeah, thankfully it's a 6-man tag. So, with the holiday weekend, only Raw ratings in, and 2.93 million for Raw. Their first sub 3 million since July 3rd. Coincidentally enough, both of those are holidays, so not much to worry about there. Mae Young Classic, Matt. I have only gotten through the first round. I'm assuming you've gotten through it all yet?
I have watched it all. It was not easy, but I was determined to make time for it, and I did. And yeah, I have watched the entire tournament, with the exception, of course, of the finals that will air live next week in the 2:05 live time slot.
I will give some thoughts on each of the matches. Talk about the women here for the first round. We'll cover the first round, get some of Matt's thoughts on the women as well, and then we will go rounds 2 to the finals on next week's show. So on episode 1 of the Mae Young Classic, Matt, we got Princessa Sunheit against Kaylee Ray. I like both of these girls. I thought the backpack slam by Ray was a sick move. I was a little surprised at the result, but then I thought about it. I'm like, well, Princessa is the only lucha in the tournament, so maybe it does make sense that she moved on. What did you think of those two ladies?
I thought it was a solid opener. I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed everything. In different levels of enjoyment, I have enjoyed everything that I've seen from the Mae Young Classic. I think it's been great TV.
The second match saw Vanessa Bourne take on Serena Deeb. Of course, you know Serena Deeb from the Straight Edge Society. Nice ovation from Full Sail for Deeb. Hey, nice to see the first time ever a female WWE official in the ring for the match as well. Yep. Pretty cool. This is another case where I thought, hey, I could see both women in the company today. I liked both of these girls. I liked the cockiness in Bourne. And I think I said this a couple weeks ago, Matt. I think Deeb is the Brian Kendrick of this tournament. She's going to obviously you know how far she's gone, but I don't because I stayed away. I think she's going to get another win. I can't remember who she faces in the second round. If you know off the top of your head, let me know.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry.
But
I can't remember.
Do you think Deep comes back to the company now that she has this next chance?
I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, it's possible that any of these girls could. I was very impressed by Vanessa Bourne for as little as she's been in the Performance Center. Like, she's a signed talent.
Yeah.
Like, she's been a part of the Performance Center for a couple months now. I was impressed by her presence in what little time she's had. I think she has star presence, and I think she'll be somebody that will be talked about in the months to come.
Yeah,
so,
I loved her cockiness and swagger in the ring for sure. Former MMA star Shayna Baszler, one of the 4 horsewomen of the MMA world, took on Zeta, who is also in the developmental, and we saw her on NXT tonight as well. Both women have martial arts backgrounds. I liked both women in this match. I had to quote JR, who of course is doing a great job calling the matches for the Mae Young Classic. This was a bowling shoe ugly match. Great fighting. But it was a pretty quick match with Baszler getting the choke tap out on Zeta. I think Zeta's still kind of new, kind of like Vanessa Bourne.
Zeta's got worlds of potential too. I was very happy to see her on NXT tonight.
So was I. And I love Zeta's story about I believe Zeta had the story about overcoming
bullying and being a superhero.
Yeah, bullying. Yeah. What'd you like out of the MMA fighter Shayna Baszler? Do you see something here with?
To me, I want to say anybody that was upset about her being in a tournament needs to shut their mouths now.
Oh, there were people upset, huh?
Oh yeah, there were. She's only in because she's friends with Ronda Rousey and she's not a real wrestler and blah blah blah. If you haven't watched her independent work, and you wanted to run your mouth, that's fine. But if you've watched this tournament and you can now sit there and say that she didn't belong as a part of these 32 women, just shut the hell up. Like, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. Like, you really don't.
Big upset in the next match where the German alpha female Jazzy Gabbert took on Abby Laith. JR cracked me the fuck up at the handshake when Gabbert, the strong Galbert, pulled in Laith after the handshake, and JR goes, "Man, that scared me." I cracked up at that one. Full Sail is loving Jazzy in her imposing figure. She was dominating most of the match, but out of nowhere and using the namesake of the tournament's own alligator press, Abby Laith got a huge upset win over the powerhouse Jazzy Gabbert. At the end of the match, Jazzy looked like she was going to kill Abby, but instead gave her a hug and raised her hand, and Full Sail went nuts at the sportsmanship. Matt, what did you see out of these two women? I already want to see a Jazzy Gabbert and Nia Jax match, man. I wanted to go back in time and have Jazzy Gabbert take on Beth Phoenix, man.
I think Jazzy Gabbert got one of the best reactions in the first round from that Full Sail crowd, as far as being an unknown commodity. I mean, some people, I know who she is. I was familiar with her going in, but I think she shined. I really do. I thought they had a great match, and I think WWE would be nuts not to sign her afterwards.
Exactly.
So,
was she kind of more? Is she more based in the UK territories?
She goes a little bit everywhere.
The 16-year ring veteran Mercedes Martinez took on the not so much of a veteran in God, I don't know, I'm gonna screw her name up. Xia Li, I think is her name. Xia Li, for not being a veteran, I thought she showed some great potential, and I love Mercedes Martinez, man. She is a great heel. That modified Dragon Sleeper she put on Lee was great. She's paid her dues, and I hope Mercedes gets a chance in the WWE going forward, Matt.
You would certainly think that that anybody that questioned Mercedes Martinez's, ability to perform inside a WWE ring should be silenced after this.
Exactly.
Her wrestling career prior to this tournament had already spoken for itself. And I think she just solidified herself in front of the mainstream WWE fan, that she's just as good as anybody in that ring going today.
Yeah, I absolutely loved her in that. And I believe Xia Li is the first ever Chinese woman in the WWE as well. Marty Bell took on Rachel Evers, a couple girls we're familiar with. Of course, Rachel Evers, the daughter of Paul Ellering. Marty Bell was in TNA. I was not impressed with Marty Bell here, Matt. I thought it was kind of sloppy compared to the other matches before it, and I was kind of a slight surprise and a happy surprise that Rachel Evers won, but I don't know why, but it just didn't look like Marty Bell looked good in this match, Matt. Did you see the same thing?
I wouldn't go as far as you did. I thought the match was fine. Like I wasn't blown away by either competitor. I always think it takes two to tango. And if you have an issue with the match, I'd put just as much blame on Rachel as I would put on Marty. I thought the match was fine. Like, to me, it was a simple, fine match. Like, I wasn't disappointed by it, but it didn't exceed expectations. It didn't blow me away. It was one of those matches in the first round to me that was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm. One of the girls I knew nothing about going into it, but I'm a huge fan now, is Rhea Ripley. I thought she was awesome in her match against Miranda Salinas. And this girl, I think she's 22 years old, maybe, out of Australia.
I think they said she was 20.
20? She looks good. I like her personality. I like her look, and she looked very damn good in the ring to me. I mean, she had a nice... I wonder, I think Ultra Lager would give her the 8 out of 10 maybe on the Okada dropkick meter.
I don't know. Why don't you go ask them?
She had a beautiful dropkick. Full Nelson slam by Ripley to defeat Salinas. So Rhea Ripley.
I liked both of these girls a lot.
Yeah, I think they both have bright futures.
Yeah.
But Rhea Ripley impressed me the most out of not knowing anything about her, not even thinking about her when they introduced them, when they went over the bracketology or anything. She didn't really stand out to me then, as some of the girls that I know a lot more of, and she blew me away there. Matt, the next match for me, I think, is the match of the first round. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not.
I definitely don't agree.
I thought Sarah Loga Mia Yim was the best match of the first round.
Not even close.
I thought it was.
I absolutely positively disagree with you.
I thought it was the most exciting at best near falls, and this was my favorite of the first round.
The best match of the first round closed out the first round.
That was a good one too. Yim uses her finishing move, same as her idol Gail Kim, the Eat Defeat, to move on, and I bet that was probably a treat for her to actually be in the same company as Gail Kim for a time period as well. One of Matt's favorites going into the tournament. I love this girl. This girl has just got personality, one of the most unique personalities in the tournament, Toni Storm. She took on the very tall, very imposing, very athletic Aisha Raymond. Aisha had the size, but worried about the crowd too much, and that allowed Storm to take advantage and get a win. And prompts to Toni Storm for her innovative ass attacks.
Yeah, they didn't really let you see what Toni Storm was all about in her first round match. Nope. If anybody was leaving the first round not sold on Toni Storm yet, by the time you watch the rest of the episodes, I promise you'll be sold on Toni Storm. I am a very big fan of Toni's. I have been for a while. Very happy that she made it into this tournament. She did not have the biggest showcase in the opening round, but the future match or whatever you want to say in the future rounds of the tournament definitely allow you to see how special of a talent this woman is, and she's unbelievable. And if WWE is not throwing money at her right now to get her locked into a deal, they're absolutely out of their fucking minds.
Next match includes the girl I want to see win the tournament. My favorite girl in the tournament, Dakota Kai, taking on the first ever Indian woman in the WWE, Kavita Devi, who is the first one to step foot in a WWE ring, and she has I thought Kavita had a great mixture of strength and agility on the ropes, and I thought she moved around great.
She impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about her going in other than the fact that she was trained by the great Khali. So that did not give me much hope to see how her ability was going to look inside that ring. But she impressed the hell out of me. WWE would be nuts not to utilize her and continue to build her in the Performance Center. She will be big for the India population. Having a woman that can go like that in the ring is a big pickup for WWE.
Yep. And my favorite girl in the tournament, Dakota Kai, she speaks for herself there. One wrong move by Devi landed into oh my god, this finish is awesome. Dakota Kai does a lap around the ring leading up to basically her version of the haluva kick, and then a coup de grace, double foot stomp off the rope for the win. That's my girl. That's what I want. That's who I want to win, is Dakota Kai. Next match is a couple of powerhouses, Bianca Belair, who you've seen on NXT before, and Sage Beckett, the Shaman. I thought Belair had some great offense here, and I loved her patented hair whip into the spear to end the match. It was a great spear. I do not know what happens in the second round, but I do know that Bianca does not move on. But I did see Triple H gave her some props, so apparently she had herself a hell of a second round match.
Yeah, I did not believe. I felt the wrong one went over here.
You thought Beckett should have went over?
I thought Sage should have went over. Belair, I will say Belair had a much better performance in the next round against Kairi Sane than she did in the first round with Sage. I feel she probably established herself a lot more by being in the ring with Kairi Sane, so in hindsight it might have been a better decision. But me in the first round, I would have put Sage over Bianca Belair.
Next match saw former TNA alum Santana Garrett. You've also saw her on NXT take on the Scott Piper Niven, and man, I knew nothing about Piper Niven going into this, Matt. I'm a big fan now with a lot. I mean, I don't. Would it be too far fetched to kind of call her a female version of Vader?
Yes.
Vader was a big guy.
I don't think she works like Vader.
Vader was a big guy that. Well, here's the comparison that I'm saying. Vader was a big guy that could do moves that you would not think a minute that he could do.
Look, if you're gonna make that comparison, I'm not saying this by weight style. Don't knock me for saying this, but I would put her more along the lines of Yokozuna.
Okay.
Because Yokozuna, his style is a lot more like Piper Niven's style, and that dude did things in that ring and moved at his size that he should have never, ever been able to do.
Yeah, their physics was just out the window with that.
Physics were Piper Niven and Yokozuna defied physics of what they should be able to do inside that ring based on their size. And I'm not saying that Piper Niven's as big as Yokozuna. Please don't take that. Don't misconstrue my words or anything. I think she's great, but I would put her along the lines of more of a Yokozuna than Vader, because Vader's just like a brute, like bully type wrestler in that ring, and just I don't see her wrestling that same style as a Vader. I would definitely put her more in lines of a Yokozuna. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was great. I thought Santana Garrett did great too. I love I love the tornado DDT off the middle rope. I thought that was sick. The Rana flipping Piper off the turnbuckle looked great. I thought Santana Garrett looked good, but obviously I think she's a veteran. She doesn't need to move on in this tournament. But establishing Piper Niven, I mean, Full Sail gave her a big ovation after winning with the Michinoku drivers. So I think there's a star in the making there with Piper Niven for sure.
Yeah, I think anybody that didn't know who she was, most certainly knows who she is now.
Next up, another one of my favorite ladies, Candice LeRae. She took on a girl I knew nothing about, but also became a fan of after this first-round match, in Renee Michelle. Renee Michelle is the unique mixture of Native American, Cuban, and African American, and I thought she had a good look in the ring, a good personality. And Candice LeRae, I mean, we all know who she is and how great she is. So it was good to see her in Full Sail competing. I thought these two ladies had a great match. Full Sail knew who her husband was, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Candice wrestling chants.
Well, it didn't help he was in the front row.
Yeah,
for all of her matches too.
True. I absolutely love LeRae's Wild Ride, the swinging neck breaker off the second rope. That was her finisher. Got the win over Renee Michelle. But I like both women here, Matt. I hope we see both women going forward.
Renee Michelle of Maryland Championship Wrestling fame.
Okay.
I do not feel that she had her best showing compared to what I've seen from her previously.
Well, from a guy that's never seen her before.
Yes, no.
I liked her. I liked her.
I had the same different expectations for her that I had for Toni Storm. Like, I'm not saying Renee Michelle's as good as Toni Storm. Don't mix my words. But I had a higher expectation of both of those women in the first round, and WWE didn't really let Toni showcase everything she could do in the first round, but I feel they made up for that as the tournament went on. Whereas Renee Michelle, I didn't feel like we got to see everything that she is capable of, and she's already one and done. So,
yeah. Well, there were quite a few one and dones in the Cruiserweight Classic that are on TV every week now.
They're very true.
Mustafa Ali is, I think, one of the big ones. Two of the newer women to the sport face off in the next match. The All-American Marine and mother, Lacey Evans. You've seen her on NXT before. Took on Tainara Conti from Brazil. And I love Lacey Evans and really want her to succeed. I mean, as a mother and a Marine, loved that she gave the flag that she brought out to the ring with. Gave it to her daughter. I thought that was really cool. And she can go in the ring for not being in the sport for so long. Mm-hmm. But another girl that's kind of green, Tainara Conti, she's got the attitude down, and I loved her attitude. She just looked like a badass assassin. Obviously, black belt in judo, which she uses heavily in the matches. I mean, she had a great judo throw.
The love child of Renee Young and Natalia.
She's green, but I see a lot from Conti.
She has a great look, and she showed flashes of brilliance early. I definitely think she's going to be one of those ones WWE doesn't let go.
Yeah, and I don't think we've ever seen this from Lacey because usually she's on the jobber end of things on NXT, but I loved her backpack power slam to finish off the match. I thought that was a really unique move.
Yeah, I feel the Mae Young Classic was a lot better showcase for her than she's ever got to do in an NXT reign. And I think that will only help her going forward in the eyes of the Full Sail audience.
Because they told her story.
Her as a legitimate competitor of that division.
That and they told her story.
Yep.
And I mean, look what telling a story did for Roderick Strong. I mean, dude they built Roderick Strong up right in NXT. Second to last match of the first round, Nicole Savoy took on Reina Gonzalez, the queen of the suplex, against the second generation wrestler. Reina Gonzalez, the daughter of Desperado Ricky Gonzalez, and a fairly quick match here with Savoy winning with an arm submission. Not much Suplex City from Savoy, but I thought this was a fairly decent match. I'd like to see a little more out of Reina Gonzalez down the future. I thought she had a good look. Obviously, wrestling's in her bloodlines. I mean, Ricky was a journeyman in the NWA territories back in the day. I think they showed him wrestling the Midnight Express if they were when they were showing those stills, if I remember correctly. So I like, and Reina Gonzalez is signed to NXT, so she's in developmental right now. So I hope she can develop, and I think she could be an asset in the company down the road, Matt.
Yeah, this has definitely felt like the rookie match. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's the potential's there. We'll see where it goes.
And then we close the first round with an amazing match. I'm still gonna go with the other match as my match of the first round.
I will respectfully disagree with you.
Matt, you can disagree, and you're not wrong, because I loved this match. I love both women. Oh my God, I'm in love with Kairi Sane. She is just I love the gimmick, the pirate gimmick. Obviously taking umbrage to her yachting background, and of course you got Tessa Blanchard, the daughter of the Four Horsemen, Tully. Blanchard, man, she had some great strikes in this match, but Kairi Sane's spear counter out of the corner, that was a badass move, and counters and near falls all over the place for these girls. These girls worked their asses off. I think we said this on the show when the brackets were announced. It's a shame this was a first round matchup.
Yeah, it didn't. Actually, lead-in Jim Ross mentioned that several times as well, that they couldn't believe that this was happening in the first round, and I absolutely agree. I think it was a crime to both of these women that they only got to, that only one of them could move on. I definitely feel Tessa deserved better, and to at least get into the second round to show off more of her skills. She is special. You can tell she's a third generation talent, and like the sky's the limit for her, man. It would be nuts to not lock her down.
Here's my thought on the booking here, Matt. This is just me thinking on.
I feel WWE just wanted to have a great. They wanted to make sure they had a guaranteed great, amazing match to close out the first round, and I feel that's why they did it. But I felt bad for whoever would have lost. I would have felt terrible for her in this case. It being Tessa Blanchard. I felt like she deserved so much better.
Yeah, I think through Triple H's eyes, this didn't hurt Tessa at all. She's got the namesake, but she's making her own name with the Blanchard name, which is great. She's carving her own path, which is the way she wanted to do it. I think Triple H feels her losing in the first round wasn't going to hurt her going forward. People are still going to know who she is, and I mean, they're going to be dumb not to bring her in. And, of course, Kairi Sane, she is just amazing. The big elbow drop off the top rope gets the win for Sane in a great match. Any other comments on the final match there, Matt?
I thought it was the perfect way to close out the first round, because the match, like as I said earlier, it was my favorite match of the first round. I thought it was amazing. And, believe it or not, JB, it only gets better.
Good.
Nothing is below good in the rest of the matches you see. Everything's good to great to amazing. You're in for when you get to catch up with the final 4 episodes over the next week. You're going to be blown away, and I'm sure you're going to be blowing up my DMs when you're watching it, and you're going to be like, holy shit, this was fucking awesome, because it really was. And massive props to all 32 of those women and Triple H for getting this thing put together. And it's just that's awesome.
Yeah, and I wanted to give all 32 women their just due, so I wanted to take notes on every match and comment on all the women that I saw, and I absolutely loved what I saw in the first round, so I cannot wait to see the rest of the tournament. And I'll give you my I've not seen a single spoiler except for Bianca Belair.
Because WWE's been posting that.
Yeah,
so
I keep saying Blair, Belair.
Yeah, just think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, man. That's the easiest way to remember it.
This is a story all about how we might have got sued there. Look out.
Well, they can't sue us for sending it. They can sue us if we played the track.
True.
We can send them. We can send whatever we want.
And I want to clear the air on one more story.
We have air to clear?
If there's anybody...
I think I know what this is about.
Just if anybody out there is listening...
I think I know what this is about.
JR said that him and Lita went in and re-recorded some of the first-round matches because he didn't like the quality of the audio. That is not a bad thing, and that happens a lot more often than you think. So if you think, oh, old man's lost a step, if you want to be a smart mark and say, yeah, well, he's just terrible, that's why. And no, I mean, this happens more than you know on taped things, and it was perfectly fine. If you want to do it better the next second try before you put it out to the public, all power to you. Nothing wrong with what JR and Lita did in the commentary team. Nothing wrong with redoing a few things to make it better for us, the viewers. Now, was that what you were expecting me to say?
No, most certainly not. I was expecting you to talk about Paul Heyman burying you on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, that too. But that occurred last week
when you were sick. Paul Heyman got a promo on your ass.
My Twitter got famous for about a week. Now I know what stars feel like when their notifications constantly blow up.
Yeah, but just imagine that times 100.
I know. Paul Heyman sent me personally, my name included, about maybe a dozen tweets. Basically, I write for Sportskeeda. I just basically report the news. And so I was just reporting on a podcast, Bruce Pritchard's, whatever the hell he calls his podcast. I don't work for GFW anymore podcast. That's what it's called. Bruce Pritchard said on his podcast that Heyman was completely against John Cena's rap gimmick and went to Vince specifically to not go forward with it. And Bruce says that Paul thinks, in spite of what he said, Vince went along with it just because Paul was against it. And so obviously Heyman found the article and took umbrage to what Pritchard had to say. So, and actually, Paul, I responded to Paul, and me and Paul actually had a back and forth conversation on Twitter. So it was.
And I was laughing the entire time.
I mean, it was great of Paul to reply back to what I had to say.
The only thing that would have been better is if your ass would have been healthy last Wednesday night, and we could have been live talking about this as it was happening.
Oh yeah, because
that would have been amazing.
That was Wednesday. Because it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
because I remember
legitimately it was happening as we should have been recording.
I think it was around NXT or 6. It was like
yeah,
7
but I didn't find out about it, and you didn't find out about it until the time that we would have been. We would have been sitting here recording this show.
No, you would have found out about it if I was awake at 7 o'clock your time, because I'd been, whoa, look at this. Instead, I wasn't feeling. Still, I had some stomach issues, and I was. I took a nap after work, so on Wednesday where we normally record. Because basically the Wednesday is, I hang out for a couple hours, and then Matt hops on in his house. I hop on at my house for NXT. We watch that, and then we get on and record. I woke up at probably 9 o'clock Central, so I probably slept from like 6 to 9 Central that night. I look at my phone, and I've got like 35 Twitter notifications, and I'm like,
What?
What? Well, I also have logged in Lost in the Midcard's Twitter and my video game website that I'm a founder of, the Gaming Tailgate. And if I'm on, say, Lost in the Midcard's Twitter and I close out of it, those are the notifications. So I thought, okay, maybe I was on Lost in the Midcard and, Matt...
We got a bunch of attention.
Yeah, and Matt usually retweets the best stuff, or he always retweets the best stuff from the wrestling world, and so I figured, maybe I just left it on that account last, and that's why there's all these notifications. No, it was on my Twitter account. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman, the advocate for the reigning, defending, part-timing Universal Champion, took umbrage. I defended myself. I said, hey, I was just reporting on the podcast, not reporting this as a fact. And if you look at my take on said, and I'm going to pull it up right now for you. I'll read you my take from that now famous article. Well, entitled Bruce Pritchard talks about Paul Heyman's objection to John Cena's rap gimmick. And here's how my take goes. This will be one of the few times I disagree with Paul Heyman, comma, if Pritchard is telling the truth. I say that because Pritchard is outspoken at times, and this was over 10 years ago, so there's a lot of room for bending the truth. As a fan of the WWE, this iteration of Cena was probably my favorite wrestler in the company in 2003 and 2004. It was entertaining because Cena was edgy and hilarious at the same time. I definitely see where Heyman was coming from. He was afraid he'd be stuck in comedy angles and never get a serious push. That's happened to a lot of wrestlers in this decade. In that decade and this, Cena took the ball, ran with it, and became this generation's Hulk Hogan. So I said it right there. If Pritchard's telling the truth.
And then I also told you nobody reads the My Take parts of those articles.
No, they were just reading.
And point proven, Heyman clearly didn't read your take at the end of the article. He only read what he saw.
And my title was not, oh, Paul Heyman hates John Cena's rap gimmick. No, it was Bruce Pritchard talks about Paul Heyman's objection. That was the title. So.
Oh, that was an entertaining night last week, and we weren't even recording. I was laughing and laughing and laughing.
Still today, I get likes and retweets from that whole.
Yeah, I don't doubt that one bit. that kind of stuff floats around for a long time. Like even just like I had a tweet a couple weeks ago, like after SummerSlam, that was liked and retweeted for like 3 days straight. Yeah. Like, and that sure as hell wasn't backed by Paul Heyman or something. So I can only imagine the power and the steam behind something that Paul Heyman's put out.
And I did not tweet at Paul Heyman to prompt him a response. Paul Heyman @replied me out of the blue.
And not only did he @reply you, he @replied you.
He so
everybody me, so on his timeline could see the tweets to you, whether they were following you or not. Like he went out of his way to make sure people saw what he was saying. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And Paul Heyman only has 1.67 million followers. Only. Oh, look, 2 hours ago, Adrian Mason retweeted a tweet you were mentioned in. At JB Huskers, my push for John Cena was never don't do the rap gimmick, but don't only do the rap gimmick, which was the correct formula. So yeah, just 2 hours ago, somebody retweeted that. So NXT this week kicks off with Andrade Cien Almas continuing his role with the company ever since Zelina Vega joined his side. He took on the Brazilian blue chipper Cesar Bonani. Kind of a take on when Almas attacked Bonani after a match a few weeks back. Almas gets the easy win. Zelina Vega did great on commentary with the trio, I thought. Good stuff there. They took a look back at the attacks on Drew McIntyre by Fish, O'Reilly, and Cole last week. William Regal in his office saying there will be no more jumping people in the car park. I love it how Regal calls it a car park. Or the Performance Center. All fighting will happen in the ring. They can be a part of NXT, but they will do it in the ring. Yeah, I think they're going to listen to Regal, Matt.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna listen to Regal in the same way that Regal told Lars Sullivan that he couldn't assault his partner in the ring. And they ended up carrying him out of the ring and throwing him in the dumpster. I have a feeling that they will find a loophole to what Regal said and use that to their advantage. I have
Lars Sullivan killed 3 guys.
Hey, it's Ryback.
Ryback and Snitsky had a son, and his name is Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, but Snitsky never wrestled 3-on-1 handicap matches.
No, he just has some of Snitsky's looks, and it wasn't his fault. No Way Jose makes his way to the stage because, of course, at Brooklyn's pre-show matches that were shown after TakeOver, whatever you want to call it, Jose made his way to the ring, got that gigantic conga line going before Sullivan attacked him from behind. And so Jose stepped up to Sullivan, but Sullivan was the one that left on top and hit a Uranagi and left him laying in the ring. Johnny Gargano is commenting on his amazing fight with Andrade Cien Almas in Brooklyn, but then was interrupted by Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli, who mentioned that they basically broke up DIY, and Tino says he doesn't think Johnny can make it as a singles wrestler. Johnny, with a nice comeback, says, "Oh yeah, you guys watched TakeOver from your couch, didn't you?" And challenges either one of them to a match, and so he will probably face one of Riddick Moss or Tino Sabatelli on the upcoming NXT. Video package for Sonya Deville. Good stuff there to build her up and set her up for a match later on in the evening. Sanity cuts a promo talking about the attack from Fish and O'Reilly and Cole last week. That was a unique promo, wasn't it, Matt? It was like they were laying still in the parking lot, and he decided to cut a promo while they were still laid out in the parking lot.
It was certainly interesting.
And I love Alexander. I love Alexander Wolf's character. That insane guy is just awesome. Sonya Deville taking on Zeta, who we just talked about from the Mae Young Classic. Of course, Zeta is signed to a developmental deal with NXT there. Pretty quick match there to put over Sonya Deville. Matt, I think she's got a tremendous future in NXT.
Yeah, I think both women in that match have a tremendous future in NXT.
Yeah, one will be a little sooner than the other. I
said a couple weeks ago that I felt Sonya Deville might even be the one to eventually dethrone Asuka, which clearly that's not going to happen now. I think, honestly, they really missed the boat by not letting us have that match before Asuka left, because those two worked so well together in the ring at that house show that I was at. Like, I feel it's a shame that so many people aren't going to get to see them work together.
Maybe it was in the cards if Asuka wouldn't have got hurt. I don't know. It's hard telling. They head to the Performance Center, and look who's tag teaming in the Performance Center, Matt.
You mean the guys who I said a couple weeks ago were going to become a tag team?
Yeah.
Those guys.
And they look pretty damn good in the ring. Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan were working out. Ruby Riott and William Regal watching on, and he says, "I want to see tape of that. I want a tape of that, please. Thank you." Ruby Riott comes up and says she wants a handicap match against Billy and Peyton because she knows the other was going to get involved anyways. Regal says, "I'm going to put you in a tag match. Go find yourself a partner."
Open on a tag match, player!
Oh, thank you, Teddy. So I have no idea. Do you know who Ruby's tag partner is? Did you read ahead?
I do know who Ruby's tag partner is. It's very easy to figure out. Take one guess, pal.
Ember Moon.
No, you're wrong. Guess again.
Oh. God, who's left?
She's in WWE 2K18. Does that help?
No. Yeah, just tell me.
Nikki Cross.
Ooh, that's right. They're kind of faces now. Oh, yeah, they had a little history, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Some great matches, too. Oh, that'll be fun. Speaking of fun, Cassius Ohno and Hideo Itami in that no DQ match, that was pretty badass, wasn't it, Matt?
It was, damn it. Part of me wants to say it wasn't as good as I was expecting.
I thought it was good.
But I really enjoyed it. I don't know, for some reason, part of me was just expecting a little bit more.
Okay.
So I don't know why. I just was. So
Are they ever going to push Ono?
He won, so probably. Like if they didn't have any intention on pushing him, I would think that
Well, I guess they did put him in a title match right away with Rude,
yeah,
but then
I would.
Then the momentum just kind of stopped.
Yeah, I feel if they didn't have any intention on pushing him, Tommy would have went over.
Do you think they're booking him just fine then in NXT?
Well, not at the moment, but a big win in a feud is a step in the right direction. But I think maybe he came in and got too much too soon. Because it's really hard. When you come in and you're basically I won't say your first match, but one of your first matches is a world title shot against the champ. There's nowhere to go but down from there. Yeah, after you lose, so they have to spend the time to build Ono back up. He's in WWE 2K18. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. We're gonna get to elbow some people's heads off.
We're gonna do some KOing.
Yeah, I think it's good, man.
Where would you put a Tommy? Who would you like to pair him up with next? Is there anybody that kind of comes to mind for a feud?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him now.
Yeah, and it's. Do you think him and Ono are done now with the no DQ? You think that's a way to put the nail in the coffin of that feud?
I would say the feud's done.
And the end of the show, tremendous moment. William Regal in the ring introducing the NXT Women's Champion Asuka. Asuka says she's been at NXT for almost 2 years. She's fought many great superstars. She loves NXT. She grew up so much here and is grateful for NXT. Regal says since she became NXT champion, she's defended the title with honor and been willing to risk everything to defend the title. Regal says Asuka is one of the greatest champions in WWE history, which is a fact. And Williams says that the NXT universe has seen it. Others are seeing it, and says negotiations have begun with the general managers of Raw and SmackDown. It's a bittersweet moment because Asuka will be stepping down as NXT champion, but it's a wonderful opportunity for Asuka, and the rest of the world will know that nobody is ready for Asuka. All the women in the locker room come out on the stage, show their support, followed by the rest of the entire roster, staff, referees, everybody comes out to give Asuka an ovation. Asuka tells the crowd they are NXT. She is NXT. Wherever she goes, NXT goes with her. Ember Moon makes her way to the front of the stage, comes to the ring, offers to shake her hand, but Ember pulls it away, and they give a big hug. And then a big reaction. I'm like, what's going on here? I heard this big reaction from the crowd. Triple H gets on the camera. You don't see Triple H on Wednesdays much, but he hands some roses to Asuka, gives her a big hug, and they go to credits. Matt, a tremendous goodbye for Asuka in NXT, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great. It couldn't have. They couldn't have done a better send off. Honestly, it was great.
Obviously, Asuka, just being her true self there, not the heel persona she's been for the past few months, and the whole thing was tremendous. I loved it. I did not get a chance to watch 205 live, but we have a new number one contender, and it's no surprise, is it, Matt?
Yeah, there's no surprise whatsoever. If you thought anybody else was winning this match, you're crazy.
Anything else stand out to you on 205 Live? Did you get a chance to watch it?
One of the things that stood out for me on 205 Live that during that fatal 5-way elimination match was the biggest reactions I've heard out of a live crowd for 205, an episode of 205 Live since the brand started. So for every motherfucker out there right now complaining about Enzo Amore on 205 Live, this is the most you've talked about 205 Live since the brand started. So maybe if you were a little more vocal about how much you loved 205 Live when it started, and if you put a little more support in the brand since it's been there, maybe Enzo wouldn't be there to try to save it right now. So, just shut up at that point.
Raw was in my home state of Nebraska in Omaha this Monday, and they had some good reactions for the cruiserweight. There were some good oohs and ahs and reactions in the cruiserweight match as well. So the Midwest is loving themselves the cruiserweight division, as they should. TJ Perkins defeated Arya Daivari. Obviously, last week TJ Perkins just made it known that he was faking that knee injury. Drew Gulak came back to spread the good word for a better 205 Live. And he had a PowerPoint presentation. That's funny. He was interrupted by Akira Tozawa. They had a match. Tozawa got the win there. And then the Fatal 5-Way. Nice was first eliminated, followed by Grand Metalik, Kendrick, and then Cedric Alexander as Enzo Amore pulled the tights. So what do you think of the whole Enzo cheating to win in 205 Live gimmick?
Like he said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And I don't have a problem with it at all. I really don't. It adds a unique dimension to that brand that it hasn't had before, and clearly the audiences live are responding to it. Enzo is an attraction. He brings in a lot of merch money. He gets the reactions wherever he goes. I think his presence on the division itself allows the crowd to take everybody else around him more seriously. They treat them as a bigger deal. They pay attention more that he's there. I think there's nothing but good about Enzo being in 205 Live right now. And the people that are so, pissy and bitchy about it, well, you should have been watching the product from the beginning and talking about it, because you're the reason why.
Are they pissy and bitchy because he just got this push to the top, or what are they?
No, they don't. About? They don't want him in the. They don't want him in the division. Period. It's one of those things that are not like the other type.
He's not an internet golden boy wrestler from the Indies.
Pretty much.
It's
bullshit. Bullshit.
All right.
Smoking.
Let's talk Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Matt, 2 good episodes on Monday and Tuesday. Do you agree?
Yeah. I enjoyed SmackDown a lot more than Raw. But I thought both of them. I thought both of them were solid. I thought the main event of Raw was great. I'll definitely put over the main event. I thought the main event was awesome. But I definitely felt SmackDown was the better show.
Monday Night Raw from my state, 1 hour down the road in Omaha, Nebraska. I did not go as I had a fantasy football draft that I had to attend, so I did not go to this. Yeah, I did not go to this edition. Opening match.
JB.
Yeah, shut up. Let's go, JB. JB sucks. Let's go, JB. JB sucks. John Cena kicks off Monday Night Raw, and I didn't hear many boos from the Nebraska crowd when John Cena came out. They didn't care. Maybe it's because it was a big pop for him.
They just didn't give a flying fuck. Like, who's this? Who's this fucking jobber? Get him off my TV. That's what they were saying.
It was a big ovation.
There's no such thing. You're lying. You liar.
Jason Jordan came out to a better ovation than normal. Let's just put it that way.
I think people were just happy Raw was on the air. They were going to cheer the Drifter if he came out there first.
Well, they should cheer the Drifter.
Nobody should cheer the Drifter.
Basically playing off on the exact moment from SmackDown Live 15 years ago when John Cena made his debut with his ruthless aggression against Kurt Angle in what was a really good match. Jason Jordan takes on John Cena, and just like Angle and Cena, Matt, I thought Jordan and Cena was a pretty damn good match. You agree?
The match was fine, but the outcome was never in doubt, which left me... It leaves me very... It's very difficult for me to get invested in a John Cena match like that, because I already freaking know, like, what the outcome is going to be before the bell even rings.
You paid a good point, because there were times in that match 15 years ago where you thought Cena was going to beat Angle, didn't you?
No. I didn't
know.
No. No. A kid's debut that I never heard of against Kurt Angle? No, I did not believe he was going to beat Kurt Angle.
Good stuff though from Jason Jordan. I don't know, man. It's lost a lot of steam. What do you think? What do you think they do with this? Do they do something to spice it up?
They need to do something. What that something is, I don't know. But it feels like it's died on a vine. Like they went from, planning on putting him in an Intercontinental title feud with The Miz to like, it really seems like they have no clue what they want to do with him now. So
now he's jobbing to he's Kurt Hawkins jobbing to the stars. He lost to Balor, and he's lost to Cena.
Yeah, but at least his matches with those guys have been longer than Kurt Hawkins' matches
combined.
Ouch.
First off, let's take a trip back to last week, Matt. Did you love the Cena Roman Reigns promo last week?
Bits and pieces. I hated the fact that Cena got the final word in, which pretty much solidified everything Roman Reigns said to be true. But, for the most part, I enjoyed it until Cena got his burial in at the end. And that's what I just felt it went too far at that point.
What was the burial at the end? Refresh me, please.
Well, the main line at the end is he could do this better part-time than Roman Reigns could ever do it full-time. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, fuck you. You haven't had a good match since you came back from your last movie set. Like, you haven't. Like, you already look like one of your feet are already out the door, and already ready to establish your life in Hollywood with The Rock. He's not Big Match John anymore because he's not wrestling like Big Match John. You can't tell me one match he's had since he's been back from the last movie that's as good as anything he did 2 or 3 years ago. It's not there.
Let's not call him Big Match John. U.S. title John. That was the good John.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I loved this moment. Cena told Reigns his zipper was down, and Reigns retorted back because he broke it because he's the big dog. I thought that was great. I don't know if that was planned or not.
I think that entire back and forth, that part was ad-libbed.
That was a good retort from Roman Reigns, man. Cena told Reigns he's a conceited know-it-all guy. Guys like Jason Jordan, Chad Gable, and even The Miz scratch and claw every week. Cena respects that. So Cena put over The Miz. At least Cena put over The Miz. And hey, Matt, let's put over The Miz. Top 10 PWI 500. How about that? Good stuff, huh?
If I still gave a shit about the PWI 500. Yeah.
You don't give a shit about it?
No! Oh my God, no! Wait, why is anybody still caring about fucking PW? Why is anybody still caring about Pro Wrestling Illustrated in the year 2017? Like,
I thought people still cared about the 500.
Are you kidding me? Like, I don't get it. I really don't.
I thought people still cared about the rankings at least.
I don't understand why people do. And honestly, Samoa Joe had the perfect tweet, in my opinion, to describe people caring about the PWI 500 a couple weeks ago. Like when people were bitching about it. Let me see if I can scroll on his feed and find it.
Because Joe was in the top 10 as well.
If in the biz and upset about your PWI ranking, schedule permitting, I'll stop by and toss a brick at your head to justify your boo-boo face. Thank you, Mr. Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe was in the top 10. I believe number 1 for the first time ever was a guy not in WWE TNA, Okada.
Okada.
Reigns challenged Cena to a fight. Cena just backed up to the ropes, and Reigns said, that's all you are is talk, and that's why I don't respect you. Did you like this promo this week?
I didn't think it was as strong as last week's, but I thought it was fine. Like at least they didn't lead into them having a tag match together. So
well, have a tag match, player. We're gonna put two guys that don't like each other.
I felt like they took all the steam out of the promo last week when they decided to throw them in as a tag team. Right after it, Like, I was just like, what the fuck are you guys thinking?
I was baffled at that, too. This is how I like the first 30 minutes of Raw, though. I mean, how many times have we had a 30-minute authority segment in the past 10 years? So I like how we kicked it off with Jordan Cena. That led to a Reigns-Cena promo. I like that. Keep doing that, Raw. Keep mixing it up for the first 30 minutes, man. I liked it. Oh yeah, one point, one note to Reigns called Jason Jordan a rookie. Now he's been there for a little while, so. Well,
he's a rookie to the Raw brand. He's definitely a rookie to singles competition. So, I mean, I get what he's saying, but he probably used the wrong term. But that could have easily been scripted for him too. You know, he could have been scripted to call him a rookie. So, who knows?
Did last week did Reigns forget his line or something, and Cena was making fun of him over, or was that kind of a plan thing?
I was told Reigns got lost in his lines, and Cena jumped on him like an asshole. I heard that was not planned.
He did jump on him like an asshole,
yep.
Didn't he? Just to remind you that Rhino and Heath Slater are still on the roster. They took on the former champions. I feel so bad
for those guys.
Cesaro and Sheamus, the hot tag 1 minute into the match, and that was it. Good night. Thank you.
They deserve so much better. Like, please put them back. Please put them back on SmackDown Live when you do the shake-up again in October. And clearly, I think Kevin Owens is being moved back to Raw. For fuck's sake, when you do this, please move Slater and Rhino back to SmackDown and let them recapture what they had over there. They've just wasted those guys on the Raw brand right now. It's so disappointing.
That could be a 5 count for No Mercy if the shakeup hasn't happened yet. What are our 5 best shakeup moves? Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Hardy Boys are interviewed by Renee Young backstage. Matt yells, "Wonderful!" And basically talking about Jeff Hardy's big chance to regain the Intercontinental title almost a decade to the day after he last held it. Jeff said that he's lived for the moment all of his life, and the fact that his daughter might see him become Intercontinental Champion is pretty cool. He's either going to leave in a blaze of glory or become the new Intercontinental Champion.
See, I thought he was going to say he was going to go down in a blaze of glory or fade away and class himself as obsolete. You know, like great. I was totally thrown by his second part of the statement. I totally thought the obsolete line was coming in there.
Well, I thought when Matt talked at the end of it, I thought another line was coming in there. He called the Miztourage dastardly, and said if he goes, if they're going to try to interfere, then they're going to have to deal with a twist of fate. I thought he was going to say, if they're interfering, then they're going to have to deal with deletion.
Yeah, I thought I would have. You know, honestly, with all this stuff that's come out about Global Force this week, I would not be surprised if Matt and Jeff just go full blown broken on Raw next week and say, "Fuck it, you guys don't have the money to take us to court." So we're just gonna do it, and we're gonna say,
yep.
"Try and stop us," type of deal. So
it'd be funny if Matt's sitting there reading a Sports Illustrated article, because that's where the story came from, man. And goes, "Wonderful, Brother Nero, look at this." Oh, they won't go that far. But Matt, what did you think of the Intercontinental Championship match with The Miz and Jeff Hardy?
I thought they had a really good match. But I knew as soon as Matt and the Miztourage were ejected, and they left Maurice at ringside, I was like, no way the title changes. Like, if Maurice would have been ejected with them, I would have been like, all right, I think the title's going to change here. But with Maurice still at ringside, I was like, no, they're not switching the title, and I was right.
Yeah, I mean, Maurice didn't really interfere, just a little squeeze of the hand that get out of the way for the Swanton. So if you call it interference, I guess, I mean, that's no different than her yelling, I guess. Apples and oranges, maybe, I don't know. But it wasn't a true dirty win for The Miz, as he gets out of the way of the Twist of Fate, hits the skull-crushing finale for the win after 13 minutes. Miz is still your Intercontinental Champion. Well, we didn't get to talk about this because it happened last week. What were your thoughts on the hot potato of the women's title changing hands last week?
I don't even want to talk about it because I'm going to rage if I do. So, let's move on.
It was announced that Sasha's going to take on Alexa Bliss for her rematch at No Mercy. Nia Jax went to Kurt Angle and complained and said, how does she get a rematch? Not me. Then Emma shows up to claim that people were talking about her last week more than you, Nia. Angle says, I've got an idea. Nia, Emma, you're going to tag up to face Bliss and Banks. If you win, it's a fatal 4-way. Women are like, okay.
Okie dokie.
We like it. They showed a video package of Braun Strowman against the Big Show in April when John Cone did the bump of all bumps for refs. I loved the fact they interviewed John Cone before the match, Matt. That was wonderful.
That was alright.
I thought that was cool.
No, it didn't.
John Cone.
It's alright.
John Cone's a good referee.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
So it's cool that he got a little spotlight. Enzo Amore does his pre-match ritual with Cedric Alexander and Grand Metalik. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You know, Eddie Guerrero said it best. Enzo then calls his partner Cedric the Entertainer Alexander the Great and Pepperjack Grand Metalik. And then called Drew Gulak Captain Underpants again.
Yeah, they actually chanted that at him on 205 Live Tuesday night. So don't you dare tell me that the stuff Enzo's spitting on the mic isn't catching on already for that brand. Like the crowd on Tuesday, a totally separate crowd, chanted Captain Underpants at him in the ring before his match on Tuesday night.
Did Enzo say Captain Underpants on the mic on 205 Live?
I think he did the week before. But Enzo was not involved with him on this Tuesday's episode.
Oh, that's right.
Because Enzo was at the main event.
Tozawa.
Yeah. So he came out to cut a promo before Tozawa came out, and the crowd started chanting Captain Underpants at him. You know, so on the addition of Enzo Amore is already paying dividends to that entire brand. People are paying attention and caring about these talents now. So there's nothing but good things about Enzo being where he is right now, and there's nobody that could convince me differently.
Enzo kisses Omaha's ass by saying he's going to chew up his opponents like Omaha steaks, and then spells out soft for you. So 6-man tag: Enzo, Cedric, Grand Metalik against Nice, Gulak, and Dar. The good guys get the win, but one of the good guys cheated as Enzo tags himself in and gives Captain Underpants a thumb to the eye. And then the new finisher, Eat Defeat, which he calls the Jordunzo, because the opponent is Dunzo, and he's kissing.
Yeah, I get it.
He's kissing Enzo's Jordan.
And you know what? People love the cheating babyface. Like freaking
New Day.
Yeah, in Eddie Guerrero. He was people loved the lying and the cheating and the stealing as a babyface. It's totally
ultimate.
It's total.
Ultimate example.
Yeah, exactly.
Sasha in the locker room saying that she is not cursed when she defends her championship, and she's going to walk out. Well, I don't know. We might disagree there, Sasha. But she's going to walk out of No Mercy champs, but for now she's got to focus with Bliss to get it done, so it's only a 2-woman match. Finn Balor comes out and talks about Omaha, Nebraska being Balor Club, and it's too sweet. And said the NXT Championship and the Universal Championship looked good around his waist. He said the Intercontinental Championship would have also looked good around his waist if it wasn't for Bray Wyatt. And he says he's not afraid. He doesn't run from demons because sometimes he becomes them. And Bray Wyatt comes onto the screen and tells him, basically he can't win without being the demon. And it looks like they got another match at No Mercy. And as Bray Wyatt says, at No Mercy, a mere mortal can top a god like Bray Wyatt. It led Wyatt wondering, would he run like a little rabbit, and told him to run. So this feud continues at No Mercy.
Hopefully it ends at No Mercy.
I'm assuming...
Like, this should have ended when he lost to the Demon. Like,
I'm assuming with Bray Wyatt brought up the fact that he can't win without being the Demon. So Balor's going to come out at No Mercy, not the Demon, defeat Wyatt, and they move on.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like, this feud should have ended at SummerSlam. You want to drag it out one more month, fine. But yeah, Balor needs to beat him again, not as the Demon, just as like regular Finn, and end this fucking feud.
I know Matt is all excited as tonight is the season debut at Total Bellas because Matt cannot get enough of John Jack Cena on his TV.
I came to my room and I saw my DVR was recorded, and I'm like, what the hell am I recording after 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night? And I turn on my TV and I'm like, oh, it's Total Bellas. Okay. So, yeah, like, I'll give it a shot. Like, I stopped watching season 1 because of all the stuff with Daniel Bryan and Daniel Bryan's depression. Like, if they're not going to be covering that, I'll watch season 2. But if they start touching on that stuff again, I'm not going to watch.
I'm guessing it won't. I'm guessing it's more centered around the baby.
That's what I'm hoping for, and I'll have no problem watching that.
The baby and Nikki's health is what baby and Nikki's neck is probably what the focuses are. What'd you think of the women's tag match where Emma and Nia Jax interject themselves into the No Mercy Fatal 4-Way?
It ended exactly how I expected it to, although I think Bliss should have been pinned over Sasha. Because if Bliss was pinned, it looks like her title's in more danger. Like, I don't think Sasha needed to take the fall there.
At this point, do you think another title change at No Mercy?
You know what? I'm gonna because WWE loves the hot potato, the women's title on Raw. I'm gonna say Emma wins the title at No Mercy.
Ooh, I think Nia does.
Emma's gonna get the win the same way she got the win on Monday. I think she's somehow gonna squeak out of there with that title. She ain't gonna hold it long, but I think she's gonna get a mini title reign coming out of No Mercy. I could be completely out of my damn mind. But just the way that they've booked her over the past month says to me like they're about to do something with her. So we'll find out in a few weeks.
Squeaky wheel gets the title.
Yeah, why the hell not? Everybody else has. But
another part of me thinks that this whole Alexa Nia Jax tiff is a ruse, and Nia's going to help her win the title. That's another thought in my head.
I really hope not. That would be terrible.
Yeah, part of me thinks they're going to put it on Jax, but I don't know. I might change my mind between now and then. They've still got 2 weeks. Post-match, Emma bragging about the win because basically she blind tagged in and took the pin from Nia after she dropped the leg. And she went for a high five, but Jax dropped her with a Samoan drop. Renee Young interviewing Braun Strowman. I bet that's not intimidating.
No, not a bit. She's a pro. She's a pro.
She said last time he was in the ring of the Big Show, they broke a 4,000-pound ring. Now they'll be surrounded by a steel cage. He's going to slam him and get the win. And noted Kurt Angle isn't sticking Brock Lesnar in a steel cage before No Mercy. So Strowman
Brock wouldn't show up to do it.
Good point. So Strowman is going to send a message to Angle, to the Big Show, and to Brock Lesnar. And everybody else that no matter where the monster among men goes, destruction follows. And I'm not finished with you.
I still can't believe they haven't released an I'm not finished with you shirt yet.
No shit.
It's just like missed opportunity, man.
Strowman keeps getting better. He keeps delivering good promos, man. That was a great. I love that.
Dude's getting better every week, and it's and if you can't notice that, I don't know what you're looking at. But the dude gets better on the mic and in the ring every single week.
I think he'll be nominated for a few marquees this year. That's for damn sure.
I would certainly think so.
Ambrose and Rollins walking together backstage, getting ready for their match, and there's Elias playing his guitar. And,
see, that's all Elias is needed for on Raw. Just those throwaway backstage segments. We don't need to see him other than that.
Dean Ambrose is a big fan of Elias, too, so he always stops and enjoys the music. The Good Brothers taking on Ambrose and Rollins, but the Good Brothers had some company in the ring with Cesaro and Sheamus. Very interesting little tiff between those guys before the good guys came out. And the former champions stepped aside. Good stuff here, as always. I still would like to see more of a push for Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, talk about people that need to be moved to SmackDown Live.
Yeah, put him with AJ. That'd be too sweet.
Like, look, you don't even have to put him with AJ. I just think they would benefit from a new tag team scene right now. Like,
I'm not saying put them with AJ. I'm just saying make them associates. Make them interact.
You know,
with
the
each
one
other.
thing that terrifies me. You know, when SmackDown makes a really cool act and then they get moved to Raw and they get ruined. Like, I am petrified that in the Superstar Shakeup, Breezango's going to move to Raw. And it will be the worst thing that could possibly happen to those guys if that happens.
It'll be tea time with Sheamus.
Oh, so bad.
After the match, Gallows and Anderson got into it with Cesaro and Sheamus, so you'll probably see that as a match next week.
Yeah, I was hoping they would actually get the better of them and leave standing tall, but nope, they got beat up again.
Yeah. Enzo in the locker room with Metalik, the spicy queso, or whatever he calls him, and Cedric Alexander celebrating the win.
Pepper Jack.
Neville walks in, and Enzo was talking about how they're going to go party and eat some Omaha steaks, and Neville walks in and goes, "No, you're not invited, Neville." Neville said he's here to inform them that Kurt Angle put in a fatal 5-way elimination match on 205 Live. Winner gets a shot at losing to me, Neville. Of course, we already know what all happened there. Neville continuing to be awesome in his heel persona. Charlie Caruso interviewed John Cone before the big main event, and Cone explained what happened through his eyes as he took that big bump that we've seen millions of times now. Pretty cool because they rarely interview a ref, so I thought it was kind of a cool moment. Renee Young interviews The Big Show, and I thought The Big Show cut a really good promo here too. He said he has never faced anybody like Strowman before, but talked about his experience in steel cage matches and just about how he's going to give someone a choke slam straight to hell. I was just waiting for Kane to walk up and wish Big Show good luck or something when he said that. Show laughed about Strowman thinking he's going to put Big Show out to pasture. He said in 23 years there hasn't been one superstar big enough and bad enough to break him. Show says Strowman calls himself the monster among men, but Show is the world's largest athlete. I thought a good promo with Big Show, great promo with Strowman. So I thought they set up the main event of Monday Night Raw perfectly, and Show and Strowman 3 did not disappoint.
Did not. Absolutely did not. These guys work so well together, and it's so seldom that I can say that I look forward to a Big Show match. But when he's in the ring with Strowman, there's some kind of magic that these two guys bring out of each other that's just really fucking fun to watch.
How about Show going off the top rope with an elbow drop? That was sweet.
Days of WCW used to do shit off the top rope.
Yep. He probably wouldn't have been able to do that today without a cage, but still a sweet moment nonetheless. We got the superplex moment. The ring held up this time. God, imagine the ring caving with the cage around.
That'd be dangerous. It'd be so dangerous. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't choose to attempt to do something like that.
I thought there was a lot of great moments on the cage with both men. It was just a tremendous match. In the end, Show went for the KO punch. Strowman avoided it, was setting him up for the big power slam. Show sliding out the back door. Pretty nice, slick move for a gigantic guy like the Big Show. He sent Strowman into the cage. Show tries to climb out of the cage. Strowman goes after him, sends him into the cage a few times. Strowman hit a running splash onto Show into the cage. Show hit a headbutt as they were battling near the ropes. We got the superplex that I just talked about, and then Strowman gathers himself, picks up Show for his finishing running power slam for the win after an amazing 16-minute match. After the match, Strowman told Show he's putting him out to pasture and threw him through the cage in a what was a really cool scene. The match was amazing. Was this Show's swan song? A lot of people thought it. I am not convinced that it's his swan song.
As far as I know, his contract's not up till February. I can't imagine with the shape that he's in right now that this would be the last we ever see of him. I mean, yeah. I guess it's possible, but I haven't heard that. To me, it's just people speculating.
Did you see Strowman's Instagram post?
I thought it was really cool. I like that Strowman's Instagram is very out of character. You know, he uses his real name, and he's very honest on there, and and I respect the hell out of his honesty on his posts on there. I think it's really nice to see. You don't get to see a lot of that from the wrestling industry because of the way that it is today. And I really appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean, like, they were on a European tour at one point, and he had posted a picture with Roman Reigns, and they're like,
well, he didn't post it.
Oh, he didn't post it?
No, I think it was Titus O'Neil. Like, it was a group photo, and Titus posted that, and he ended up taking it down, because at that time, like Strowman and Reigns were like a fucking blood feud. And here they are side by side being buddy in this group photo. So yeah, they ended up getting it taken down. I think that was Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, I think you're right. Braun Strowman is at Adam Scheer, SCHERR 99, and after Monday Night Raw, he posts, "As if we didn't turn the whole world's eyes on us the first two times. We gave you a third, one of a kind, never to be seen again fight. We are the last of a dying breed. I said it about our first two matches. I'll say it about this one as well. You will never see anything like this anywhere in the world. May never see anything like it again. I tip my hat to you, Big Show. You brought the fight to me every time and pushed me to dig deeper and deeper to find a way to beat you, and I thank you because you brought 100% of the monster out in me." So, great tribute of Braun Strowman to the Big Show after that phenomenal match. Smackdown Live is a little further north in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Corey Graves replaces JBL. So
Hallelujah.
Graves.
Hallelujah.
We get Graves on Raw and SmackDown. I'm not sure how long that's going to last.
I hear it's permanent.
Good. Well, because Graves no longer on 205 Live, that is now
Nigel.
Vic Joseph and Nigel. And Nigel also calls Main Event now.
Which I never watched, so...
I don't either.
If Graves called Main Event, I wouldn't have known it. So
I was going to ask you, did he call
honest
Main
to
Event?
God, dude, I haven't watched an episode of Main Event in probably like 2 or 3 years. So I have no idea.
I really dug the Orton and Nakamura promos to kick off the night. Of course, they'll be the main event of SmackDown Live. I thought those were some great promos. Carmella in the ring with Ellsworth, and they were supposed to have a match. Carmella was with Natalya. Owens comes out and says he's going to be the special referee. I kind of like this new gimmick with Owens. He's just going to take over being the referee.
Yeah, I think that's done and over with already.
Yeah, there might be someone coming to SmackDown next week, pal.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling SmackDown's not going to be nearly as good next week because old man Vince is there. So that kind of bothers me a bit, but I guess we got to suffer with it.
Shane came out and says, "No, you're not going to be the referee." They then get into their arguing about Shane's complaint or Owens' complaints about Shane. Shane mentioned, "Well, you're just upset because I didn't single-handedly give you the title like Triple H did on Raw." And Owens can play a good dick. If you've ever seen Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor, Owens is a good dick. And said that, talked about Shane's kids dancing around with him at WrestleMania. Shane quickly cut him off and said, "Don't mention my kids ever again." Owens mentioned Hell in a Cell jumping off of the cage, mentioned the helicopter crash, and said his entire family would be better off if he didn't survive that crash. Everybody would be better off, like his dad, his wife, and especially his kids. That set Shane off into a big fight melee that went over the announce table on the outside. Shane shoving security and officials. Finally, Daniel Bryan is out there to calm him down, and Daniel Bryan has that disappointed dad look in his face, doesn't he?
I never really thought about it like that, but that's a pretty good way to describe Daniel Bryan's look.
When Shane's walking away from the table and Bryan's just looking at him, shaking his head.
I didn't even think about that.
Son, I'm disappointed.
That's funny. That's funny as shit.
What'd you think of the Owens and Shane?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was a great way to get heat. Owens knows how to, he can push those buttons because he's the type of guy to be able to do so. I loved how Daniel Bryan got in the mix of it, breaking up the fight, giving Shane the news, which we'll talk about later. All of that stuff. I like how Daniel Bryan's in the middle of it. It's not just Shane and KO. And Daniel Bryan
I think he needed to
really
be. He's an authority figure that needs to be involved with this stuff.
And he's not on Shane's side. I like how they're putting him in this. I thought that was brilliant.
Well, he perfectly makes his case later in the show why he's against what Shane did, because he was in that exact same situation, and his character was able to show restraint where Shane was not.
Yep. And after commercial, they show Owens getting helped backstage by the referees. Bryan shows up to apologize, and KO tells Bryan he better enjoy his job while he has it, because Owens is going to turn SmackDown Live into the Kevin Owens show. He's going to sue Shane and his entire family. He's going to take everybody down and take over the WWE. Bryan said there's another way to handle this. Owens says he's going to press criminal charges on Shane himself. The match that we were going to have originally, Carmella and Natalya, happened. It was an okay match. Ended up with a roll-up of doom when Natalya capitalized on Ellsworth screwing up. This led to Carmella saying that he's the sorriest excuse of a human being that she's ever met. He's a genetic defect.
Asshole.
She did, and she says, "We're through." And then it gets interesting later on. We'll get to that in a minute. I like Dolph Ziggler, but this whole
I thought this was fucking hysterical.
I don't know, man. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I need
Dolph
more.
Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler
as Naomi, that was hilarious.
Dolph Ziggler in one segment turned himself into the Deadpool of the WWE.
You think
he completely broke the fourth wall, dude? The entire segment was about fourth wall breaking. Like that's totally what the entire Dolph Ziggler segment reminded me of if Deadpool was a WWE superstar. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Maybe I need to look at it through a different set of glasses then, and look at it. I just wasn't impressed with it, but maybe looking at it that way, maybe I'll see the brilliance out of it. I don't know.
I had me rolling, man.
I was just like, throughout it. I wasn't in the same boat, but I did pop at the Naomi thing. That was kind of funny. So we'll see where it goes. I don't know where it's gonna go, but
yeah, God knows where it's going. But I thought for an opening act, quote unquote, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I laughed, and if you can get me to laugh, you got me on board. So I'm willing to see where it's gonna go from here.
I think it's a matter of time before. We see Ziggler become the Drifter, because remember he's mentioned Elias a lot on his promos. So we may see Ziggler with a guitar.
No, I don't know how much I'm looking forward to that.
Speaking of groans, what about Sami Zayn jobbing to Aiden English in 2 minutes?
But Aiden English didn't beat him. He got a lucky roll up. It wasn't like Zayn lost to a finisher and got beat clean 1, 2, 3. He lost in a fluke finish and he chased Aiden English out. I didn't think this was nearly as bad as the internet was losing its mind to be. And there were a lot of people losing their shit on Twitter after this happened. And you know me, I'm a huge Sami Zayn fan. I didn't think this was nearly as bad as people were making it out to be.
Yeah, I wasn't losing my shit over it, but I still see it as a 2-minute job, regardless of how it ended.
I think to me it all comes down. That kind of shit comes heavily down to how it ends. And I felt he was protected very well. Like it looked like English just caught him in a fluke win. Like it didn't look like Aiden English got a convincing win over Sami Zayn.
Daniel Bryan is in his office. The New Day and the Usos showed up to pick the stipulation for the Smackdown in Las Vegas next week. Usos say street fight, and
I say I don't care.
And Big E made some joke that the other two guys of the New Day didn't laugh about. Poor Big E got hung out to dry.
I'm sure. Yep.
Then Bryan received he'll be okay. Bryan received a phone call, and he had to go to the ring right now. And I'm like, oh, that's either Triple H or Vince.
I figured it was Vince because he called him Sir.
Yeah, good point.
I was like, he ain't calling Triple H Sir.
Daniel Bryan walks out to the ring, no theme song. He's serious. And asks for Shane to come down to the ring. Shane comes down to the ring with no music as well.
This is the part where this is real. This is a shoot, JB. This part wasn't supposed to happen.
No theme music. Lawsuits. Fuck
My
that out.
God.
Bryan asked Shane, what was he thinking? Shane admitted, things got out of control. Then Bryan mentions The Miz went on Talking Smack and said how Bryan would never wrestle ever again after he retired. The Miz said he wanted to headbutt that jerk right in the face, but he didn't because Shane told him as the GM of SmackDown, put the WWE first, put the fans first, put the employees first. Bryan restrained himself because it was best for the company. Or maybe should I say it was best for business. Bryan told Shane he cannot assault the employees or superstars and said they cannot run SmackDown Live like that. Shane says he takes full responsibility for his actions. Owens crossed the line, so there was no coming back. Shane pointed out that Bryan is now a father, so imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. Bryan said, don't do that to me. We're in legal problems right now because Owens is going to sue every member of your family. Bryan cares about the jobs of the people in the back because that's how they feed their family. Shane said he'll talk to Owens and smooth this over. Bryan said it is too late to talk to Owens. He got a call before he came out here from Vince McMahon, which caused the crowd to gasp. Bryan says Shane effective immediately, and he drew this out as long as you could.
Oh yeah, it felt really the ending here felt really drawn out.
I'm sorry, man, but no, you're not fired, but indefinitely suspended.
Which will end next week when Vince comes in and makes the match between the two at Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
1 week suspension.
Fans chanted. Fans gave Shane O'Mac ovation and chanted, "Thank you, Shane." I thought this was a great segment, man.
Yeah, it was good. Dude, as I said, I loved SmackDown this week. Like, I thought it blew Raw out of the water.
Jinder Mahal interviewed by Renee Young, bragging about how he is better than Orton and Nakamura, and he represents Asia better than Nakamura ever could. He has been champion for over 100 days.
And now he's 100 days of our life.
I like this title reign.
I'm ready for it to end at Hell in a Cell. It's time for Nakamura to get the title.
I would love to see Nakamura as champion, so I agree, but this has been a good title reign. And then Mahal, it's time for him to speak to my people in my language.
And Paul Jambi. He said, blah, 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 yakety schmackety.
AJ Styles is on commentary for Baron Corbin, Ty Dillinger. Styles on commentary talking about how Corbin is a cheap shot artist, and while the ref wasn't looking, Corbin went for the throat, and that stunned Dillinger and ended with the end of days for Corbin. And after the match, Styles goes up to Ty Dillinger backstage, talking about how Corbin's a cheap shot artist, and says that next week in Las Vegas, the U.S. Open Challenge is only open to one man, and it is Ty Dillinger. Dillinger said phenomenal. They shook hands. I thought that was
SmackDown's pretty much a fucking pay-per-view next week. You know, since the only pay-per-view this month is No Mercy, like SmackDown's basically giving us a pay-per-view next week. Like every title's on the line except for the world title, and you got Old Man Vince showing up. It's pretty much, this is about as good as they could have promoted SmackDown next week. It's going to be a great show. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm hoping, since the fact that Vince has to play a character on the episode, that he's so wrapped up in worrying about that segment that he ignores everything else.
Exactly. Just as long as he doesn't get into that blown up limo. Let me pose an interesting question to you, Matt.
Are you lying?
Next week is the debut of Monday Night Football. They're basically throwing They're basically throwing a pay-per-view at us on Tuesday. Does SmackDown defeat Raw next week in the ratings?
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see.
It'll be the first time in a while. It's going to be close. They're not going to beat them by a large margin. But I do feel SmackDown defeats Raw in the ratings next week.
Video package talking about Bobby Roode, and Matt, there's about just one word to explain that video package, right?
I don't know, JB. What word would that be?
Excellent.
Let's go with that.
James Ellsworth is begging Carmella to give him another chance, and he'll do anything she wants. And Carmella says, from now on, we're doing things her way. I thought they were doing things her way.
That's what I thought.
So. And then she gives him a kiss on the lips. Matt, what the world's going on? Big Cass going to kick his ass.
Maybe that's why she did it.
Ooh. Oh. Big Cass goes over to Smackdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's out for a while, pal.
So that's interesting now that it's going romantic. I didn't see this going romantic.
Yeah, I have no words on how to describe that segment. It was very weird.
I still like Ellsworth on my television, though. I'm always entertained by Ellsworth. Duh. Nakamura Orton. Gee, will this be good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Before that, though, how great was that RKO on Nakamura on last week's
I thought
SmackDown?
Nakamura sold the RKO, the best RKO sell I've seen since Rob Van Dam.
That slow-mo of his face as he's about to take it, oh, that was so good. That's why they showed it so many times.
I really felt it was the best sell job of an RKO since RVD. And that's some high-ass praise.
RVD basically takes that face first straight up in the air. We all knew it was coming, but it was still a pretty cool moment. Even though, I mean, we love Nakamura, but we still love cool moments. So I thought it was cool when Randy dropped that on him last week. Amazing match between these guys. Again, I think just like with John Cena and Nakamura, these guys will probably give us a lot more in a 20-minute pay-per-view match down the road. But what they gave us for free on television was just amazing with these guys. Did you have any doubts of coming into this matchup over the past week? Did you have a very good feeling Nakamura was going to win? You didn't quite know? What were your thoughts going into the main event of SmackDown.
I just said I was 95% sure Nakamura was going to win. I feel Orton's had his run with Jinder. I feel Orton is more than willing to put over the upcoming talent and making them look good in the process. And yeah, like I was 95% certain going into the match that Nakamura was going to win. But that didn't make like the match any less enjoyable. I loved the match and I love the outcome, and I feel it's Nakamura's time in Hell in a Cell. I feel they're going to put him in the cell. I feel that the Sin Brothers will be locked outside of it, and that will be the story that comes into play, and Jinder loses to Nakamura. So,
do you think that Orton's a 13-time champion? Do you think now this is what he's going to do a lot more often than not? Is help put over talent?
He's been doing it a lot the past year and a half. Like he's put over countless people over the last time period. So, like Orton's Jericho, dude. Only full time. Orton's Teflon, man, and he knows it. And just like Jericho knows it, they don't mind putting over the younger upcoming talent to benefit the roster. Jericho and Orton aren't John Jack. You know, they have no problem, helping to establish the future of that roster. So I respect the hell out of Orton and Jericho for what they do with the talent on that roster when they're there. I wish I could say the same about John Cena, but I can't.
Very awesome counter. Nakamura countering the RKO into an armbar. That was fucking awesome.
That was a great spot. I've never seen that before.
I was like, what's going on here? Oh shit, he countered it. Like I was like, did he slip out? Oh shit, he's got an armbar.
Yeah, that was sick.
Whoa.
I loved that spot.
Orton was able to get out of the predicament with a power bomb. Went for the RKO again, but Nakamura got out of it, hit a knee to the ribs, and then hits the Kinshasa after a great 13 minutes of action. As my buddy John Canton said in his review of SmackDown, it's great to hear Corey Graves call the Kinshasa.
That is true. That is definitely something that's been missing from Nakamura's matches since Graves left NXT and Nakamura landed on SmackDown. Graves calling the Kinshasa spot is definitely a great moment of Nakamura's NXT run, and it's definitely good to hear him doing that again. I don't agree with John Canton very often, but I definitely agree with that.
And I love his basically Graves' version of vintage. I love the bang when a big move hit. I love when he does that. I don't know why. It kind of reminds me of Mike Breen in the NBA when he 3-pointer hits, he goes bang, and Corey Graves kind of puts his own
I've said this several times, but it bears repeating. Corey Graves is the closest thing that we're ever going to get to a modern-day Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's absolutely phenomenal at his job. Clearly, WWE realizes that. The fact that he's on both Raw and SmackDown behind the desk says that WWE realizes it. And as far as I'm concerned, he's got a job for life as long as he doesn't do something stupid to screw it up. So...
Exactly. To close the show, Kevin Owens is walking backstage. Daniel Bryan comes up to him and tells him that Shane's been suspended and it's done. Kevin Owens says, no, we're just getting started. And says next week it'll be his own personal playground. Bryan says, well, somebody's coming in next week to deal with this. And Owens, is Shane's wife coming in? No, it's Mr. McMahon.
Kevin Owens is like, shit, I took this too far. That's the look I got from him anyway.
Yep, hand in the cookie jar. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Lost to the Midcard. Thank you for sticking with us. This is a lengthy show. We had a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on, and, of course, the tremendous Mae Young Classic to talk about as well. Thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes, any of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure you search for Lost to the Midcard. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends to do so, because that way you know every time a new episode comes your way every Thursday and most Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. Also, subscribe to us via YouTube if that's your flavor of choice. Links to all that are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostToTheMidcard. Go to the notes section there, or go to our pinned tweet at LITMC Podcast. You can also check out all the great stuff from the wrestling world that we share on Twitter. Matt's on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. I am on the Twitter at JB Huskers. Before we right off into that sunset, Matt, what are your final thoughts?
It was a good week of wrestling between Raw, SmackDown, Mae Young Classic, NXT. Really no complaints. I hope WWE continues to put their best foot forward going into the NFL season and not back off on things just because they're worried that they're going to get their asses kicked by Monday Night Football. You gotta fight the good fight, so to speak. So
that's right, coach. Put me in, coach. Yeah, it was definitely a good week of wrestling. We have not approached the 3-hour mark on our show in a long time. I think last time we did it, we had like a round table with Charles and Trevor, and we had a lot to talk about there too. So lots of good stuff in wrestling. So I agree with Matt. Hopefully it carries on through the fall into WrestleMania season. And y'all boy is going to WrestleMania in New Orleans next year too. So I'm excited about that. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning into Lost in the Midcard. We'll catch you